Merhaba arkadaşlar.
Merhaba Hakan Hocam.
Merhaba.
Merhaba.
Merhabalar hocam. Merhaba arkadaşlar.
Merhaba hocam.
Evet, şimdi açılış oturumu var. Milli Eğitim Müdür Yardımcısı konuşacak. Ben konuşacağım. Erasmus İl Koordinatörü konuşacak. Ondan sonra devam edeceğiz.
Güzel bir paylaşım olacak hocam.
Evet. Sizin de desteğiyle kesinlikle.
Bizim için özellikle şey açısından çok güzel olacak. Çünkü sahadaki gerçek, mutfaktaki arkadaşlarımızın fikirlerini öğrenmek, onların duygularını öğrenmek bu süreçte bizim için çok önemli. İnşallah biz de onlara katkıda bulunmuş olacağız.
Evet, güzel bir paylaşım gerçekten.
Çünkü ben hep şeye inanıyorum hocam. Bizlerin uzantıları aslında Milli Eğitim'deki hocalarımız. Yani onlar da aslında birer bilim insanı ve yaptıkları işi bilimsel bir çerçeve içerisinde yapıyorlar. İnşallah katkıda bulunacağız karşılıklı.
Konuşma başladı mı arkadaşlar? Beklemede miyiz?
Azerbaycan'dan bir katılımcı arkadaşımız var. Online oturumların da böyle bir şeysi var. Böyle bir anda sessizlikler komedyasına dönüyor. Herkes birbirine bakıyor. Kimse bir şey söylemiyor, etmiyor.
Evet, merhabalar değerli hocam, değerli arkadaşlar, hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Bir taraftan da aşağıdan sayıyı arttırma çabasındayız. Arkadaşlar yavaş yavaş katılıyorlar sisteme. Onları bekliyoruz. 20 geçe başlamayı planladık ama artık başlayalım isterseniz. Hepiniz tekrar hoş geldiniz. Ben konuşmaya başlamadan önce İstanbul Milli Eğitim Müdür Yardımcımız Sayın Levent Özel'i ile başlamak istiyorum. Buyurun müdürüm.
Evet, sesim geliyor mu öncelikle?
Geliyor.
Evet, Sayın Rektör Yardımcım, çok değerli akademisyen hocam, Hakan hocam, çok kıymetli meslektaşlarım, yol arkadaşlarımız. Öncelikle sizleri İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü adına saygıyla selamlıyorum. Gerçekten çok özel ve nitelikli bir çalışma olduğuna inanıyorum. İl Müdürümüz Levent Yazıcı'nın da çok selamlarını iletiyorum. Kendisi şu an bakan yardımcımız burada olduğu için katılamadı. Çok istediği, selamlamak istediği bir oturumda aslında. Ama 3 gün sürecek bir çalışma inşallah. Mutlaka bir oturumda kendisi de öğretmenlerimizle birlikte olmak istiyor. Maltepe Üniversitemiz gerçekten bizim için çok değerli. Her çalışmamızda yanımızda olan, omuz omuza çalıştığımız bir üniversite. Sağ olsunlar, var olsunlar. Bu kapsamda yaptığımız her türlü çalışmada nitelikli katkılarını her zaman sağladılar. Ben ayrıca Maltepe Üniversitesi'nin çok değerli rektörüne, rektör yardımcılarına, akademisyen hocalarıma da çok teşekkür ediyorum. Son 3 senedir yürüttüğümüz Kendine, İnan ve Sadece Konuş isimli projemiz kapsamında gerçekten özel çalışmalar yapmaya çalıştık. Çünkü dil eğitimi bildiğiniz üzere her zaman tartışılan, geliştirilebilir alanları olan bir alan. Bu kapsamda ülkemizde de birçok çalışma yapılıyor. Tabii 2023 vizyonunda da Sayın Bakanımızın da üzerinde durduğu, özellikle dil standartlarının yükseltilmesi ve öğretmenlerimizin bu konuda desteklenmesi noktasında da çalışmalar başlatıldı. İstanbul İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü olarak da biz bu konuda ciddi adımlar atmaya çalışıyoruz. Tüm alanlarda olduğu gibi yabancı dil alanında da öğrencilerimizin özgüvenlerinin kazanılması, özellikle projenin isminden de anlaşılacağı gibi kendine inan ve sadece konuş. Konuşma yetkinliklerinin artırılması. Ömer Bey güldünüz. Evet. Bu kapsamda çalışmalarımız devam ediyor. İlk önce bir ilçede başladık biz bu projeye, Küçükçekmece'de. Daha sonra 12 ilçemize yaygınlaştırdık. Tabii ciddi veriler üzerinde çalışarak, bilimsel yöntemlerle bunları elde etmeye çalıştık. Daha sonra bu sene de 19 ilçemizi belirledik ama salgın nedeniyle bildiğiniz üzere yüz yüze bu çalışmaları yapamıyoruz. Dijital ortamda bu çalışmalar devam edecek inşallah. Bu kapsamda da bu belki ilk bir adım. Burada çok değerli hocalarımız var. Özellikle birazdan Hakan Hocam, işte Betül Hocam'dan sonra inşallah Ömer Bey'den sonra sunumlarını yapacaklar. Bu konuda biraz önce bir konuya da değindi. Sahadaki arkadaşlarımızın burada olması gerçekten çok önemli. Sahadan gelecek, siz değerli öğretmenlerimizden gelecek öneriler, bu kapsamda yapılacak çalışmalar, inşallah bir sonuç raporu ile birlikte biz bunu bakanlığımıza da ileteceğiz. Bakanlığımızın da bu noktada inşallah tasarrufları olacak. Bu çalıştayımız 3 gün sürecek. 3 gün olarak planlandı. Ve sonucunda çok nitelikli bir rapor çıkacağını ben önemsiyorum. Tabii uzmanlar burada, değerli hocalarımız burada. İçerik noktasında benim çok fazla bir şey söylememe gerek yok. Ben özellikle Maltepe Üniversitesi'nin çok değerli rektörüne, rektör yardımcılarına, özellikle Betül Hocama, Hakan Hocama çok teşekkür ediyorum. Çok sözü de uzatmadan asıl Çalıştay'ın içeriğine geçme noktasında da sizleri saygıyla selamlıyor. Her birinizin katkısı için tüm öğretmenlerime de çok teşekkür ediyorum. Sağ olun, var olun.
Sizler sağ olun hocam.
Çok teşekkür ederiz kıymetli müdürüm. Şimdi Betül hocamız, söz sizde efendim.
Evet, çok teşekkür ediyorum değerli hocam. Sayın İl Milli Eğitim Müdürümüze teşekkür ediyorum ayrıca ve Levent Özil Müdür Baş Yardımcımıza saygıyla selamlıyorum, Müdür Baş Yardımcımızı da ve diğer bütün katkıda bulunanları, öğretmen arkadaşlarımı hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum. Üniversite olarak biliyorsunuz biz Maltepe Üniversitesi olarak bu tür çalışmalara her zaman büyük bir içtenlikle katılmak istiyoruz ve katılıyoruz da. Bu işbirliğinden dolayı da çok memnunuz. İkinci defadır işbirliğimiz gerçekleşiyor. Şöyle ki protokolümüz var biliyorsunuz İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü ile Sayın Rektör Hocamızın ve Sayın İl Milli Eğitim Müdürümüzün, valimizin, Sayın Valimizin imzaladığı bir protokolümüz var. Bu bizim için çok sevindirici. Çünkü biz üniversite olarak eğitim dünyasıyla çok içten bağ kurmak yanlısıyız. Kurulduğumuz zamandan beri. Eğitim fakültemiz de bu anlamda bizim en büyük şanslarımızdan biri. Eğitim fakültemiz başından beri kuruluş kanunumuzda yer alan bir fakültemizdir. 2004 yılında da resmen rehberlik ve psikolojik danışmanlık bölümüyle öğrenci almaya başlamıştır. Daha sonraki yıllarda da yabancı diller eğitimi bölümü ve İngilizce öğretmenliği programıyla kendisini geliştirdi. Ayrıca da bizim vaktiyle rektörlüğümüze bağlı olan Yabancı Diller bölümü vardı. Daha sonra Yabancı Diller Yüksekokulu haline geldi. Dolayısıyla biz bu çalışmada İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğümüzün şemsiyesi altında Maltepe Üniversitesi'nin Eğitim Fakültesi, Yabancı Diller Yüksekokulu, yani hem işin kuramsal yanının içinde olan hem de uygulamanın içinde olan, ki Yabancı Diller Yüksekokulumuz daha çok uygulamanın içindedir elbette, tahmin edebileceğiniz gibi, bu çerçevelerde yıllardan beri çalışma yapmaktalar. Şöyle bir geçmişimizde şöyle bir geleneğimiz de vardı. ELT konferansları adı altında English Language Teaching çalışmalarını yıllarca biz sürdürdük. Tekrar bizi o günlere döndürdüğünüz için ben özellikle çok teşekkür ediyorum. İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğümüze böyle bir işbirliğini tekrar canlandırdıkları için Ömer Faruk hocamıza, Ömer Faruk Erdoğan arkadaşımıza, hocamıza da çok teşekkür ediyorum. Çok emek verildi bu çalışma için. Ve günümüzün koşulları altında olmazsa olmazımız uzaktan eğitime bütün bu çalışmaları taşımak. Çok anlamlı bir çalışma. Ayrıca biraz önce Levent hocamızın da ifade ettiği gibi alandaki ihtiyaçlar gözetilerek yapıldığı için çok değerli bu çalışma. Yani sadece masa başında yapılan bir çalışma değil, alanda ne tür sorunlar var, ne tür gereksinimler var, ihtiyaçlar var, bunların saptanması, tespit edilmesi sonucunda ortaya çıkan bir çalışma olduğu için çok değerli. Bunlar bizim hep özlediğimiz işler, ayağa yere basan çalışmalar olması ve ardından da bir rapor hazırlanacak olması çok değerli ve önemli. Raporun hatta hazırlanmasında biraz önce Ömer Faruk hocamızla da ben irtibatta olduğum için sürekli dedim biz de katkıda bulunabiliriz. Bu tür raporları hazırlamaya çok da yatkın olan bir arkadaşımız var. Hakan hocamızın ve bölümün de izniyle birazcık da rektör yardımcılığı pozisyonunu değerlendirerek Bora Arga arkadaşımız bu konuda katkı verebilir. Çünkü biz bu konulardaki dil konusundaki çalışmalara çok değer ve önem veren bir üniversiteyiz gerçekten. Özellikle eğitim fakültemizin yine rehberliğinde, kılavuzluğunda IB programlarıyla ilgili çalışmalar yapıyoruz. Bora arkadaşımız da orada sürekli olarak görev alır. Yılda 2 kez yapmış olduğumuz çalıştaylarımız var bizim. IB organizasyonuyla birlikte yapıyoruz bunu. Aynı zamanda eğitim yönetimi ve denetimi yüksek lisans programımızın bir sertifikası var. Bu da yine IB organizasyonuyla yapmış olduğumuz ileri liderlik sertifikası programı. Yani şöyle ki ağırlıklı olarak da İngilizce öğretmenleri yararlanıyor bundan. Dil bilmek tabii burada çok büyük bir avantaj bu programlarda yer almak açısından. IB okulları biliyorsunuz çok değer ve önem kazandı bütün dünyada. Ülkemizde de 100'e yaklaştı yanılmıyorsam IB okullarının sayısı. 3 program var. PYP, MYP ve DP olmak üzere biliyorsunuz. Buralarda departman başkanı olmak üzere veyahut da yönetici olmak üzere kendisini yenilemek isteyen kişilerin katıldığı bir program oluyor. Bizim eğitim yönetimi ve denetimi yüksek lisans programımızın IB uzantılı olanı. Ve bu anlamda da biz dünyada yanlış hatırlamıyorsam yeni sayı eklendiyse bilemeyeceğim son bir yıl içinde. Son bir yıla kadar dünyada 37 üniversiteden biri olduk biz bu programa dahil olarak. Yani Türkiye'de değil, dünyada 37 üniversite. Türkiye'de de Bilkent ve Maltepe Üniversitesi sadece var. Demek ki ülkemizden 2 üniversite sadece temsil ediliyor bu programda. Bunu da ben İngilizce öğretmenlerimize özellikle duyurmak istiyorum. Bu konuda da çok öne çıkmış olan bir üniversiteyiz. Dil eğitimi biraz önce Levent hocamızın da dediği gibi, Sayın Müdür Baş Yardımcımızın da dediği gibi olmazsa olmazımız İngilizce üzerinden özellikle bu yeterlilikleri artırmak son derece önemli. Biliyorsunuz Türkiye Yükseköğretim Yeterlilikler Çerçevesi diye bir çerçeve var. Biz bütün programlarımızı, bütün ders izlencelerimizi, her şeyimizi genel çerçeve olarak Türkiye Yükseköğretim Yeterlilikler Çerçevesi'ne göre hazırlamak zorundayız. Burada da bilgi, beceri ve yetkinlikler söz konusu 3 dal var ve burada yabancı dil son derece önemli. İngilizce çok son derece önemli. O nedenle üniversite sıralarına gelmeden İngilizce konusunun çözülmüş olması lazım. Bütün çocuklarımızın, gençlerimizin ikinci bir dil olarak mutlaka kendi ana dillerinin dışında bir dil olarak İngilizce öğrenmeleri son derece önemli. Tabii burada sahanın uzmanları, İngilizce öğretmenlerimiz bizim olmazsa olmazımız, başımızın tacı bu hocalarımız. Onların destekleriyle daha iyi noktalara geleceğimizi umuyoruz. İstiyoruz ki biz de üniversitede çalışanlar olarak bize gelen öğrencinin artık dil sorunu kalmasın. Tamamen dili halletmiş olarak ana dili son derece önemli. Yabancı bir dili kazanabilmek için öncelikli olarak ana dilde güçlü olunması gerekiyor. Temel dilde, daha doğrusu ortak dilimizde güçlü olunması gerekiyor. Ortak dilimiz Türkçe olduğu için bunu vurgulayarak söylüyorum. Ardından da başka bir dili öğrenme konusunda da daha bir atılımlı olabilmek için bu altyapı son derece önemli. Ardından da İngilizce gerçekten olmazsa olmaz. Ben evrensel demiyorum, küresel tabirini kullanıyorum İngilizce için. Küresel bir dil İngilizce. O nedenle bu çalışmanın çok değerli olduğunu da düşünüyorum. Katkı vermekten dolayı da çok mutluyuz. Bütün yabancı dille ilgili olan, İngilizce ile ilgili olan arkadaşlarımızla. Onlara da çok teşekkür ediyorum. Canı gönülden bu çalışmalara katıldılar. Ömer Faruk hocamızla biz sık sık bir araya geldik. Bu işi planladık. Umuyorum verimli olacak, güzel bir çalıştay olacak bu 3 gün boyunca ve genç çocuklarımıza çok güzel yenilenmiş olarak döneceğiz hepimiz. Tekrar İl Milli Eğitim Müdürümüze, Sayın Rektörümüze ve Müdür Yardımcımıza Levent Özel hocamıza, Ömer Faruk Erdoğan hocamıza katkı veren siz değerli öğretmen arkadaşlarıma çok teşekkür ediyorum. Verimli bir çalıştay diliyorum. Sağ olun, var olun.
Çok teşekkür ederiz Sayın Hocam değerli bilgileriniz için. Çalıştay programına geçmeden önce projenin bir lansman tanıtımını yapmak istiyoruz. Geçen senelerde neler yaptık ya da neler yapacağız, bununla ilgili arkadaşlarımıza bilgi vereceğiz. Çünkü Müdür Bey'in de bahsettiği gibi bu yıl yaygınlaştırdık ve 6 ilçe daha aramıza kattık. Gönül ister ki İstanbul'un tamamını uygulayalım ama adım adım ilerlemek istiyoruz. Elimizdeki verilerle ilerlemek istiyoruz. Daha kapsamlı, daha detaylı sizlerden fikir alarak, geliştirerek ilerlemek istiyoruz. Kısa bir sunum hazırladım. Dilerseniz sunum üzerinden ilerleyelim. Sunumu görebiliyoruz değil mi?
Evet.
Evet. Başlıyorum. Temel hedefimiz İngilizce derslerinin konuşma ve dinleme ağırlıklı olarak işlenmesi ve öğrencilerin İngilizceyi konuşabilmeleri amacıyla bu proje İstanbul İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü tarafından yürütülmektedir. Projenin en temel amacı öğrencilerimizin ortaokuldan mezun olurken İngilizceyi temel seviyede konuşabilmesidir. Bizim en önemli hedefimiz bu. Diğer taraftan projemiz 18 ilçe, 172 okul, 184.400 öğrenci ve 982 İngilizce öğretmenliğini kapsamaktadır. Evet, geçen yıl yapılan etkinliklerden görüntüler. Neleri yaptık? Kısaca bunlardan bahsedelim. Şöyle bir sloganımız var. Kaybedenin olmadığı, herkesin kazandığı yarışma diyoruz aslında bu projenin neticesinde de, çünkü bir yarışma olduğu için. Geçen yıl 23, 24, 25, 26 ve 27 Eylül tarihlerinde Doğu Akdeniz Üniversitesi'nden akademisyenlerin katıldığı Communicative Language Teaching isimli bir eğitim verildi. Yaklaşık 560 İngilizce öğretmenimiz bu eğitimlere katıldı. 2018-2019 akademik yılında ise ilk olarak Küçükçekmece ilçemizde uygulamıştık projemizi. Pilotlamasını o ilçede yapmıştık ve kazanan öğrencilerimizi İtalya'da kısa bir mini dil eğitimi kapsamında İtalya'ya götürdük. 2019-2020 eğitim öğretim döneminde ise 12 ilçemizde bulunan 90 ortaokulda ön test niteliğinde bir anket çalışması uygulandı. Yan tarafta neticelerini kısaca yazdık. Anketimize katılan toplam öğrenci sayısı 76.190. Ön test sorularını temel seviyede cevap veren öğrenci sayısı ise 25.181. Seviyemiz beginner dediğimiz seviye. 5. sınıf, 6. sınıf ve 7. sınıf rakamlar önümüzde. Ön test sorularına bu öğrencilerimiz gereken geçerli cevabı vermişlerdir. Evet, süreç kapsamında çok önemsediğimiz bir konu bu. Tüm okullar, neredeyse tüm okullar gezilerek demo dersler yapıldı. Öğretmen arkadaşlarımızla beraber dersler işledik ve beraber etkinlikler gerçekleştirdik. Tabii pandemi öncesine kadar böyleydi. Pandemi maalesef başladıktan itibaren bunların birçoğunu yapmadık. Evet, ilçe ve okul koordinatörlerimizle bilgilendirme ve süreç değerlendirme toplantıları yapıldı. Biraz önce zikrettiğim gibi okullarımız ziyaret edilerek projemizle ilgili fikir alışverişinde bulunuldu. Bunu çok önemsiyoruz. İngilizce öğretmen arkadaşlarımızla oturup projenin daha nasıl ilerletebiliriz, daha nasıl geliştirebiliriz fikir alışverişinde bulunuyoruz. Çünkü sahada olan arkadaşlarımız, farklı bölgelerimiz var, farklı okullarımız var. Mesela bazı ilçelerimizin şartları iyi olmasına rağmen bazı ilçelerimizin ya da okullarımızın şartları farklı olabiliyor. Bunun üstüne bir reaksiyon göstererek ilçelerde daha net uygulanmasına çalıştık. Farklı koşullar belirledik. Her okulun kendi şartları var çünkü. Okullarımızdaki bu görüşler bizim için çok kıymetli. Diğer taraftan öğretmenlerimizle dönem başı yaptığımız anketler neticesinde neye ihtiyacımız var diye yine bir anket tasarladık ve arkadaşlara uyguladık. Öğretmenlerden gelen sorun nedir diye sorduğumuzda materyal ciddi anlamda bir sorun olarak karşımıza çıktı ve Milli Eğitim Bakanlığı'nın kitabının özellikle konuşma odaklı derslerin yeterli derece yapılamadığını ya da kaynağın çok az olduğunu ifade ettiler. Biz de bunu düşünerek bir komisyon kurduk ve 276 sayfalık bir materyal tasarlandı ve bunun içerisinde de değerler eğitimi kapsamında konular da işlenerek bir kitapçık haline getirildi. Akıllı tahtada uygulamalar yapılarak okullarımıza bunu tarihlerde okullarımıza göndererek bunları öğretmenlerimizle, öğrencilerimizle buluşturma fırsatı edindik. Bu materyali daha da geliştirmek istiyoruz. Üniversitemizden de bahsettik ve materyal içeriğini onlar da eğer incelerlerse geçerli ve güvenliğini artırmak istiyoruz. Daha kapsamlı hale getirmek istiyoruz. Diğer taraftan projemiz kapsamında bunu Levent Özil Müdürümüzün projesiydi bu aslında. Çok hoş bir fikirdi. Proje kapsamında çok dilli ve çok kültürlü kafe etkinlikleri gerçekleştirdik. İstanbul Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü'nün çok güzel bir kütüphanesi var. Sizleri de bu vesileyle davet ediyoruz. Çok hoş bir kütüphane. Burada haftanın her cuma günü burada etkinlikler gerçekleştirdik. İngilizcenin yanı sıra da Almanca, Fransızca, İspanyolca, Çince, Rusça, Arapça gibi çeşitli dilleri öğrencilerimiz ve öğretmenlerimizle buluşturma imkanımız oldu. Bunu yaklaşık bir 7 hafta yaptık. Pandemi neticesinde buna durdurmak zorunda kaldık. İnşallah her şey yolunda devam ederse bunu da tekrar başlatmak istiyoruz. Neler yapacağız? Tekrar aynı sloganla devam ediyorum. Kaybedenin olmadığı, herkesin kazandığı yarışma. Niçin böyle söylüyoruz? Şu sebepten bunu söylüyoruz. Tabii ki dil yetenek ister, çeşitli gerekçe ister ama burada bizim temel hedefimiz yani İngilizceye soğuk bakan öğrencilerimiz, korkan ya da uğraşmak istemeyen öğrencilerimizin de dikkatini çekerek bir şekilde onların da kalbine ve gönlüne girmeyi hedefliyoruz. Bu yüzden okullarda özellikle dönem sonlarında bir speaking yarışması da bu sebepten açtık. Tabii ki iyi olan öğrencilerimiz var ama Küçükçekmece'de bu çok önemli, bu her yerde söylüyorum. Özellikle İnan Ortaokulu'nda dezavantajlı gördüğümüz bir ortaokuldaki öğrencimiz ilçe birincisi oldu. Bu da çok önemli bir şey bizim için. Birçok öğrenciyle mukayese ettiğimizde gerçekten zor denilen bir bölgede çıkıp şampiyon olabildi. O yüzden ve bu öğrenciyle şöyle bir röportaj yaptığımızda proje sayesinde ilgim arttı ve çalışmalar yaptık. Öğretmenle de ciddi anlamda beraber bir çalışma gerçekleştirdik ve neticede sonuçta şampiyon olabildi bu öğrencimiz. O yüzden dezavantajlı bölgedeki öğrencilerimizin dikkatini çekerek İngilizce ile ilgili daha sıcak olmalarını sağlayabilecek bir proje hayal ediyoruz. Burada neler gerçekleştireceğiz? İşte bunu zaten plana yazmıştık. Çok şükür bunu başarabildik. Materyal üretimi ve şu anki gerçekleştirdiğimiz Çalıştay'ın planlaması adı altında geçen seneden bir hedef belirlemiştik ve şu anda çok şükür bu hedefe ulaştık. Bu hedefin sonuçlarını çok önemsiyoruz. Müdür Bey'in de zikrettiği gibi buradaki final raporunu bakanlığa da inşallah göndererek İstanbul'daki öğretmenlerin sesini inşallah bakanlığa da duyurmaya bir vesile olacak bu Çalıştay. Projenin değerlendirilmesiyle ilgili bir şeyler söyleyebilirim. İşte okullarda, ilçelerde ve ilde yarışma komisyonları kurulacak. Kurulan komisyonlar bültenlere sadık kalarak yarışma sorular hazırlanacaktır. Burada İl Milli Eğitim'de oluşturulan komisyon tarafından bir soru havuzu oluşturuldu. Ve bunlar öğrencilerimizin resimleri hikayeleştirerek özellikle Cambridge sınavları arkadaşlarımız burada çok iyi bilir, İngilizce öğretmen arkadaşlarımız. Cambridge sınavlarından aslında bir modelleme yaparak bir soru havuzu oluşturduk ve sorular tamamen İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü alanda uzman arkadaşlar tarafından hazırlandı ve inşallah süreç normale giderse face to face, eğer olmazsa, bu mümkün olmazsa bunu online şeklinde bu sınavı yapmak istiyoruz. Burada puan üstünlüğe göre her kademeden öğrenciler tespit edilecek. Yarı final ve finale kalan öğrenciler de video kaydı altına alınarak okul ve ilçe sorumlularına bir şekilde e-posta yoluyla teslim edilecek. Burada bir rubrik geliştirdik. Bu 1. seviye olan. Bunun bir de 3 versiyonu var. Burada öğrencilerimizin puanlama sistemine göre değerlendirilecek ve puan üstünlüğüne göre arkadaşlar değerlendirecekler. Burada önemsediğimiz diğer bir kısım ilçeler arası seçmeler. Bunu önemsiyoruz. Burada tekrar İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü bir komisyon kurulacak ve sorular il tarafından kapalı zarf usulüne göre hazırlayacak. Burada temel hedef her seviyede, her projede ya da yarışmada kazanan da olacak bildiğiniz üzere. İlk 2 öğrenci tespit edilerek geçen seneki hedefimiz öğrencilerimizi İngiltere'ye götürmekti. İnşallah dediğim gibi her şey normale dönerse bunu sağlamak istiyoruz. Bu vesileyle projemizin Avrupa Birliği projesinde geçtiğini ben hatırlatmak istiyorum. K101 projesi de geçti proje kapsamında. Ben bunun 201 projesine de ikinci etapta inşallah müdürlük uygun görürse 201 projesine de çevirmek istiyoruz biz bunu. Yine Maltepe Üniversitesi ile bunu çalışmak isteriz. Bir farklı format ve müfredat üzerine de çalışmak istiyoruz. Erasmus Plus projeleriyle de projemizi bir şekilde birleştirmiş olduk. Bu yıl yaklaşık 40 öğretmenimizi İngiltere'ye götürüyoruz. Eğer her şey yolunda olursa dediğim gibi şu andaki takvim gereği Nisan ayında hareketliliğimiz var. Ama dönem şartları ya da pandemi nedeniyle bu değişik gösterebilir. Gelecek yıla da sarkabilir. Diğer şekilde tasarladığımız, bunu çok önemsiyoruz. Web tasarım ve mobil uygulama. Çünkü öğrencilerimizden gelen dönütlere göre utanıyorum. Arkadaşlarımız için de konuşamıyorum şeklinde ifadeler var anket sonuçlarında. Ve biliyorsunuz İngilizce telaffuz dili. Arkadaşlar ya da öğrencilerimiz yanlış bir şekilde kelimeyi telaffuz ettiğinde diğer öğrenciler tarafından hani gülündüğü için konuşmamayı tercih ediyorlar. Öğrencilerimizden gelen dönütlere göre bunu söylüyorum. İşte evde doğal ortamda kendi videolarını çekip sisteme yükleyebilecekleri, tabii ki öğretmenlerimizin kontrolü altında olan bir sistem tasarladık. Web site çalışması bitti. Bunun mobil uygulama üzerine çalışmaya devam ediyoruz. Kısa zamanda da inşallah bunu başarabilirsek, birkaç işlem kaldı. Bakanlıkla da görüştük. Avrupa Birliği projesi de geçtiği için direkt oraya üzerinden de ilerleyebiliriz. Bunu öğrencilerimizin ve öğretmenlerimizin hizmetine sunacağız bu mobil uygulamayı. Diğer taraftan İngilizce festival planlıyorduk. Bu da dediğim gibi her şey normale bindiği takdirde bundan önce yapabiliriz. Okullarımızın tamamından bir katkı bekliyoruz. Okullarımız belirlediğimiz bölgede stand kurarak çeşitli etkinlikler daha önce tasarlanarak bir dil festivali oluşturmak istiyoruz. Konular daha çok değerler eğitimi ya da okullarımızın seçtiği konular olabilir. Bunu arkadaşlar tasarlamışlardı ama maalesef pandemi girdiği için araya bunu da yapamadık. Evet, projenin yaygınlaştırılması kısmı var. Bizim en çok üstünde durduğumuz kısım bu. Büyüyerek ilerliyoruz ama sağlam ilerlemek istiyoruz. Elimizdeki verilerle ilerlemek istiyoruz. Eksik ve noksan kaldığımız kısımları arkadaşlarımıza yani sizlere danışarak ilerlemek istiyoruz. Bu çok önemli bizim için. Çünkü yapmak için bir projeyi yapmayacağız. Bazı eleştiriler olabilir ya da eksik kaldığımız, noksan kaldığımız kısımlar olabilir. Bunlar da sizlerin verdiği verilere göre değiştirerek daha farklı formata bindirip değiştirebiliriz. Bunu da o yüzden önemsiyoruz. Tüm ilçelere uygulanmasını hedefliyoruz aslında. Diğer taraftan projenin öğretmen ayağını daha da güçlendirmek istiyoruz. Çünkü 2023 eğitim vizyonundaki hedeflere bağlı kalarak oradan aldığımız direktifler doğrultusunda biz bu projeyi aslında ortaya çıkardık. İstanbul Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü stratejik planda da zaten yabancı dille ilgili ciddi kazanımlar var, ciddi hedefler var. Bu projenin zaten referansı orasıdır. Buradan biz o ışığı aldık. Ve diğer taraftan yapılan ön tez ve son tez çalışmaların daha güvenilir hale getirilmesinin düzenlemeler yapılacak. Burada üniversitemizin de devreye girerek bu ön test ve son testin daha kapsamlı, daha geçerli olması için çeşitli uygulamalar yapacağız. Bu konuda fikir alışverişinde bulunabiliriz. Bu önemli bizim için. Çünkü veriler çok kıymetli. Neredeyiz ve ne olduk? Öğrencilerimizin gelişimini ancak bu şekilde gözlemleyebiliriz. Projenin de geçerli ve güvenli açısından bu çok kıymetli bizim için. Diğer taraftan projemizin bir makalesini ulusal uluslararası bir kongrede sunulmasını hedefliyoruz. Diğer akademik boyutunu da çünkü çok önemsiyoruz bu işin. Bunu da yine Maltepe Üniversitesi ile koordineli bir şekilde yapmayı murad ediyoruz. Evet, bizim uzun vade hedefimiz nedir? Neye varmak istiyoruz? Biliyorsunuz Türkiye'de LGS sınavında 10 tane soru var. Aslında sistemsel bir problem bu. 10 soru test usulü, multiple choice. Buradaki öğrencilerimiz bu 10 soruyu yaparsa İngilizceyi biliyor, yapamazsa bilmiyor. Aslında sistem bunun üzerine kurgulandığı için velilerimiz, öğrencilerimiz, öğretmenlerimiz pozisyonu bu şekilde aldılar. Ama eğer uzun vadeli sınav sisteminde kısmi değişiklikler yapabilirsek, çoktan seçmeli sınav yerine uluslararası geçerli olan konuşma ve dinleme sınavlarını sisteme entegre edebilirsek, sistemdeki tüm bileşenlerinin farklı bir şekilde pozisyon almalarını sağlayabiliriz. Gerek öğrencilerimiz, gerek velilerimiz, gerek öğretmenlerimiz buna farklı bakış açıları sergileyebilir. Bizim en önemli varmak istediğimiz hedef bu, uzun vade hedefimiz bu. İnşallah bunu da uzun vadede yapabiliriz. Eğer bunu başarabilirsek inşallah ülkemizde dil sorununu kısmi ciddi oranda çözüp ve bunu bir sorun olmaktan dışarı çıkarabiliriz. Evet, beni dinlediğiniz için çok teşekkür ederim. Projemizin resmi hesapları bunlar. Eğer takip ederseniz çok mutlu olurum.
Teşekkür ederiz.
Teşekkür ederiz hocam. Sağ olun.
Evet, saatte şu anda 40 geçeye geliyor. Hakan hocam 14'de aslında düşünüyorduk. Eğer arzu ederseniz başlayabiliriz. Burada şu anda sayımız
Hocam.
yeterince var. Sunumlar İngilizce olacak bu arada. Arkadaşlarımıza bu şekilde duyurduk. Çok kalabalık olduğu için sistemin bir mail adresi buraya paylaşacağız. Çünkü herkes soru soramayabilir. Çok kalabalık olduğu için çok da vaktinizi de almak da istemiyoruz. Çünkü belli bir sistem var. Bugün 4 oturum var. Mail adresini arkadaşımız paylaşacak. Oraya da hani olası soruları da arkadaşlarımız atarsa bunu sizlerle de paylaşabiliriz. Bizler de dilimiz dönünce cevap verebiliriz. Evet, çok teşekkür ederiz. Buyurun hocam, söz sizde.
Öncelikle İl Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğümüze, rektörlüğümüze bize bu fırsatı verdiği için teşekkür ediyorum. Çünkü bizleri sahadaki bizim uzantılarımızla yüz yüze getirdiler. Birlikte burada inanıyorum ki konuşacağız, tartışacağız ve ileriye dönük daha planlamalar için ışık bulacağız buradan. Bu arada aranızda mezunumuz olan öğrencilerim var, öğretmen meslektaşlarım var. Onları da saygıyla ve sevgiyle selamlıyorum hepinizi. Bizlere katkıda bulunan, hayatta olan öğretmenlerime şükranlarımı, ebediyete intikal etmiş olanları da rahmetle, saygıyla anıyorum. Çünkü öğretmenler öğrencilerinde yaşarlar. Bizler bugün birilerini yaşatıyoruz. İnanıyorum ki bizlerin öğrencileri de öğretmenler olarak bizleri bir şekilde var edecekler gelecekte. Şimdiden teşekkür ediyorum. I would like to start my presentation in English. And in this presentation, I did a research on June 2020, and I asked some questions to foreign language teachers, and I wanted to learn their ideas, assessments on foreign language teaching with distance education. I'm not so much familiar with the Zoom, but I will try to do my best sharing my screen. So let me, okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, of
Good.
course, we can see it.
Okay. The title of my presentation is, as you see here, Assessment of Foreign Language Teaching with Distance Education by the Teachers During the COVID-19 Outbreak. And unfortunately, I put there one small subtitle, a story of voyage in black hole, because the distance education changed almost everything, and the COVID-19 affected almost all parts of our life. And as you see, most probably it will continue to affect our life. And when a working vaccine is released and widely used, maybe we will keep ourselves away from this COVID-19 pandemic. And COVID-19 also raised some doubts, almost everything in our life, including education. And with the help of, because of the COVID-19, we come across with new opportunities that we were not aware so much, such as distance education, Zoom, and Blackboard. And in this study, what I did, my purpose is to learn the opinions of teachers about foreign language teaching with distance education. I wanted to learn the problems they have encountered and their suggestions to make better the process. In this study, I use phenomenological principles of the qualitative research methods to get the data, and I made face-to-face interviews with teachers. The study focused on whether distance education is suitable for foreign language teaching or not. I wanted to learn the participation of the students, reliability of the testing and evaluation we used during this period, teaching activities, course contents, learning environment, and technical infrastructure were the focus points in this study. And we know that the widespread of information technologies and the internet greatly facilitated the education for different learner groups. And whatever you call, whether it's a distance education, e-learning, or digital learning, is an output of innovative knowledge transfer. And in the United States, the association dealing with distance learning describes distance education as a generic, all-inclusive term used to refer to the physical separation of teachers and learners. Distance education takes place when a teacher and student or students are physically separated, and technology, it can be audio, video, computers, and all printed materials, used to bridge the instructional gap. In reality, what we are trying to do here is using opportunities of the distance education, we try to fill the gap in instruction. And distance education cannot be accepted as a system that will replace traditional education one-to-one. It is not possible to change traditional education with digital learning or e-learning. Distance education is a supplementary alternative that supports and enriches face-to-face education or traditional education. Due to its significant peculiarities, such as being free of time and space, highlighting the importance of learner autonomy, this is very important, learner responsibility, having diversity of testing and evaluation tools, and especially as it is highly demanding for teaching practices compared with traditional ones, distance education can be described as a completely different type of education requiring redefinition of all teaching and learning practice. That's why it is highly difficult to think distance education as a substitute for traditional education. In my study, as I said before, I interviewed with 20 volunteer foreign language teachers in July 2020. In this group, the professional duration of participants was changing from 1 to 35 years. As you see on the screen, most of the teachers were highly experienced. Just very small group of those teachers can be fresh or novice teachers. And when we look at the school levels, 2 of 20 were from primary school, 4 of 20 from high school, and 14 of 20 were from university. And I asked them these 3 basic questions. What's your general assessment about distance education? What were the problems encountered while teaching foreign language with distance education? And what are your suggestions to make better the process? So my volunteer teachers that I shared express these major issues as a general assessment, as a difficulties and suggestions. As you see, participation as a general assessment, learning environment, language teaching, distance education, success and professional development are highly mentioned within the general assessment of distance education. But when we come to the difficulties, to the problems encountered during this period, we see that learning environment is the #1 problem of area. And then distance education itself is expressed as the source of problems. And then we see testing and evaluation. This is one of the most important points mentioned as difficulties. And then we see participation of the students, language teaching, and professional development for the teachers. These are the areas mentioned as difficulties. And the suggestions, the proposals made by the teachers to make better the process. So we see that their proposals are given to make better the learning environment, participation of the students, how we can make more participants during the lessons of the students, and distance education to make better the distance education. Testing and evaluation is also one another important area of suggestions to make better the situation, the case. And this is very interesting, especially teachers that I talked from the primary school and secondary school teachers mentioned parents' participation. They highlighted the role and the importance of parents' participation during the distance education. So I will mention these issues a little more. So, and then when we look at these major issues, as I said here before, these topics are highly mentioned, but also we can see some other issues. The number of teachers mentioned these issues are less. That's why I didn't highlight them. But as you see, testing and evaluation, adaptation, working environment, teacher-learner rapport, teacher-learner relations, parents' participation, learners' profile, learning and lesson preparations are some other issues mentioned as the difficulties or general assessment issues. Here, within the difficulties, as you see, adaptation, working hours. This is one another important area in reality. Parents' participation, health. 2 of my interviews mentioned that their psychology demolished. Their psychology had some problems. They got some problems, health problems. And one of the teachers mentioned the difficulties shared or witnessed at home life. And we will see some explanations or remarks on these issues. And as I said to you before, their suggestions are highlighted here, but especially language teaching, there is no any problem in this case. Professional development, no problem, not so much. Think they want to make better. Adaptation, but as you see, creating the learning environment that is highly beneficial is very important in distance education. To increase the participation of the students and to make better the distance education, to have a well-working, objective, reliable testing and evaluation is highly important. And as I said to you before, parents' participation, their roles are highly important to have an effective, influential teaching process in distance education. So I would like to say a few things about my findings here, but the first thing that we can say, of course, I did this interview with 20 teachers. If I had an opportunity to increase the number of the teachers, maybe we can get some other results, findings as well. But I can say that teachers do not approach foreign language teaching with distance education very positively. There are some shortcomings of teaching language with distance education. And when I tried to understand what are the negative ideas based on this perception, is that these are the remarks of those teachers. There was very limited attendance and participation of the students in the courses. Synchronized foreign language teaching with distance education negatively affects the development of language skills due to the highly limited interaction. Pedagogical principles applied in face-to-face education are not being implemented in distance education. Online foreign language teaching was done in crowded classrooms, especially at university prep schools. Unfortunately, in some schools, they bring together 2 or 3 classes and they assign one teacher, but of course, it is not good learning environment, not only for teachers, but also students as well. A sound teacher-student relation rapport was not achieved in distance education as in face-to-face education, because there's a physical distance. Teachers were not equipped with required techniques and skills appropriate for distance education. That's why at the very beginning of my presentation, I said that we cannot replace distance education with traditional one, because distance education requires different skills and techniques from the teachers. And maybe in our future teacher training programs, we should furnish our student teachers with such skills as well. There was limitation of digital materials for foreign language teaching. This is very important because teachers are in need of materials. Inadequacy of technical infrastructure and the internet access was highly influential, including the lack of equipment on the basis of students. Especially most of the students couldn't have an opportunity to access the internet because they don't have the required materials like computers, laptops, or most of them use their cell phones, but this time they had some internet access quota problems. And also, the reliability of the exams was exceeded by the students, exaggerated by the students. So, distance education requires a new understanding in testing and evaluation. It is not possible to use traditional exams or understanding of examination and testing in distance education. We will talk about them a little bit more. The question types used in the exams were not appropriate for testing and evaluation in distance education. So distance education requires redefinition of almost everything we do as education or as teaching. And parents of students, especially at primary and secondary education, intervened in the students' autonomy and teachers' practices during the lessons. As I said, 6 of 20 of the teachers that I interviewed were coming from primary school and secondary school, and especially they said that at the primary school level, parents were sitting together with their kids during the lessons, and time to time, they were forcing their kids to give the answer they say them, or they somehow intervene to the teaching practice. And this is one another important issue that must be somehow prevented. Decision makers made complicit statements about passing the class or the course in the process. This is one another important issue, especially at university levels. If we change the system, the rules of the game, students can easily exaggerate and they want to use it for their own benefits. Student satisfaction based on academic achievement rather than learning-oriented education underwent. This is the most important issue mentioned by the teachers. And this is very striking for me. Teachers didn't have job satisfaction during this COVID-19 pandemic when they did learn teaching with distance education. So, as you see, students had a perception of guarantee of passing the class, and it caused negative effect both on students and teachers' motivation, especially mediocre students. Students below the average level exaggerated distance education, and that's why we can maybe think to put oral exams into action. Instead of multiple choice exams or written exams, maybe we can use oral exams to test our students' knowledge and abilities in language use. Exams contents may emphasize the use of interpretative language. So we should change our way of testing and evaluation. And instead of asking them direct questions about the knowledge of language or vocabulary, then we can make them deal with questions requiring interpretative use of language. Especially in service training, as a part of orientation programs, may help to minimize user-induced errors. Given these in-service trainings can be given both to students and the teachers. And this is very important. Curriculum scope may lead to autonomous learning. Distance education requires learner autonomy. As there is a physical separation between teacher and the student, synchronized and asynchronized courses make students to learn by themselves. That's why the curriculum, the content, should be redefined and should lead to autonomous learning, and we must somehow teach our students how to learn. This is very important. Teacher-student rapport, teacher-student relations and responsibilities are gaining a new form with distance education. This new form is shaped around Moore's transactional distance theory and Weddermere's independent learning theory. these are a little bit academic, dear friends, but these two understanding describes that we have now a new kind of relation between teacher and student. So the transactional distance theory is defined by Moore as follows. Transaction, which we call distance education, exists in a universe with special qualities caused by the separation of teacher and learner. This separation causes different patterns in teacher and learner behaviors. This separation between teacher and learner profoundly affects both teaching and learning. In this separation, there are psychological and communicative gaps that need to be overcome that may cause possible misunderstandings between the teacher's input and those of the learners, which are transactional distance. Distance education make us working in two different parts in the universe. Using the technology, we come together, but it affects our psychology, it affects our expectations, it affects our satisfactions, and it affects our way of teaching and also way of learning. So this new form, the psychological and communicative distance caused by this separation between the teacher and the learner based on space and time determines the degree of self-management of the student. That's why I said distance education requires learner autonomy and associates autonomous learning with independent learning theory. That's why we should develop our students' independency, their learner autonomy, and that's why we should teach them how to learn. According to the independent learning theory developed by Wedemeyer, the essence of open and distance learning is independent learner. So distance education make us come across with a new type of learner who is completely independent, who has autonomy in his or her learning. And this traditional teaching learning axis as defined by Plato have failed and emphasize the benefit of independence of the learner and effective use of technology. Wedemeyer also stated that the success of open and distance education depends on the rapport between the teacher and the learner. So even in distance education, we should find the ways of making strong the relation between the teacher and the learner. We should somehow make disappear the distance, especially the extensive use of technology, sharings, and bringing them together as much as possible. In this new rapport of teacher and learner, where the learner is further liberated in his own learning process, the teacher goes beyond the usual patterns and contribute to his own professional development as well. You know, when this lockdown started, when the schools are closed and when everybody stayed at home and when we started to make teaching from our homes, we somehow managed to use these Zooms, Blackboards, or we managed to do distance learning. And we adopted ourselves. This is also a contribution to our professional development. And we became more technology user, we became more technology sharings, and we somehow learned how to make better our teaching practices. And we will keep going on. We will continue to improve our professional requirements for this process as well. Due to the changing role of the teacher, occupational deformation, the motivating force of distance education can be heard in the remarks of the participants. Two of my volunteer teachers says, distance education made me feel worthless, or I didn't feel like a teacher. Expansion of the content. This is very important. Teachers' remarks display that they continue to produce new materials so as to overcome the problem of content, because in distance education, the content is getting higher. We need more content compared to the traditional face-to-face education. The materials that are sufficient for face-to-face education are quickly running out in online education. They need more materials. I had to take screenshots of the pages of the book as students' materials remained in school due to the sudden lockdown. I had to constantly produce materials even though we had iTools. Some students, some teachers were lucky, they had some iTools, but even they didn't become enough for them. And preparation of materials was troublesome because teachers, maybe for the first time after a long period of time, they began to produce materials that are suitable, appropriate for distance education. Home office working caused negative effects on the domestic life of the family members as well. It was a problem to find a suitable place to teach in home environment. Some of teachers did their classes in the kitchen, some of them did in their bedrooms or in the living rooms. Distance education in home environment was troublesome. I was constantly on the screen or on the phone because students were calling them or other colleagues were calling them. They were sharing ideas. They were asking so many questions to each other. There was an uncertainty about working hours. In face-to-face, in traditional education, there are starting hour and ending hour. But in distance education, there is no specific working hours. Even at night, you may get a call.
Yes.
The students cause trouble when they ask questions about every subject at an ungodly hour. They were sending emails, they were asking, they were calling, and they never take care of the hour they called. Households had to arrange their life according to my class hours. This is very important. The other members of the family redesigned their living hours at home. Nature of foreign language teaching is disrupted. Most of the teachers think that with distance education, we disrupted the nature of the foreign language teaching. Ignoring speaking and writing was bad. Verbal use of the target language was not possible in online education. Distancing from interaction in English reduced students' motivation. Just lecturing from the course book was not productive. We shouldn't do just reading-based study. What we did in class was against the nature of language learning. These are the remarks of the teachers that I interviewed. This is very interesting. Students with very low or almost no participation in class in traditional education. Students who got bored in face-to-face education paid full attention. Students who were weak in face-to-face education stated that distance education contributed a lot. Students who did not speak in classroom, in traditional classroom setting, followed the online lesson more easily. This is very important. On the other hand, distance education can make some good contributions, especially to those students who are shy, who have a lot of anxiety, or who are not comfortable in traditional education. So we can help them to destroy their psychological barriers in their mind, and we can help them to speak or to exchange their ideas in target language. So distance education has also some good benefits. We could see these two as well. These remarks of the teachers coincided with the statement of Leontas that computer-aided language teaching materials can reduce the affective filter, emotional filter of the student and make them interested in the target language without being in front of other learners. Because students are at home, they are in the living environment that they know, that they are familiar, where they feel themselves secure, and so they can express their ideas without having any hesitation. We can use distance education to increase such students' contribution. That's very good, on the other hand. So there's a correlation between the participation rates of students and the effectiveness and the success of distance education. Blake says that the real success of distance education course is whether students' interest can be maintained through the semester. Drop rates for online classes are routinely about 50%. Attention should be sustained by taking advantage of the attractiveness of multimedia offered via the web and or CD-ROM and the power of interaction based on computer-mediated communication. This is very important. In distance education, as a teacher, we should somehow achieve to draw our students' attention and to make them busy with the learning process, and we should make them engage with the process. But to do this, we should color ourselves. We should make our lesson, the teaching practice, highly interesting. That's why we should use all visual, audio, other materials that will support our teaching practice in the classroom. If we lose their attention, if we lose their interest, the drop will increase. At the very beginning, some of teachers said participation was very low. Participation was high at the beginning. It decreased over time. Student participation was very low. Students' interest in the course was very low. There was an intense participation at first and then decreased. These are the remarks of our teachers. So we should somehow manage to draw our attention, interest, making attractive our course materials that we use in distance education. And these are the suggestions. I don't know whether I am so fast or not, but I'm sure you have some ideas, most probably. Maybe you experienced the similar things, and maybe you are going to agree with them or not, but I'm sure these suggestions made by the teachers that I interviewed. Principles laid down in traditional education should be embraced in distance education as well. We mustn't change the rules of the game, whether in traditional or in distance education. The same rules should be followed. Course, class passing rules in face-to-face education should also be followed in distance education. Students' attendance should be kept by taking attendance. This is very important, especially at university level. Students should open their cameras during the lesson. This is very important. In Zoom, it's okay, but in some other programs, it may not, or the students may not prefer to open their cameras, but they should open their cameras. It's very important because the communication requires this. Exam takers' identity should be clarified by technological means. This is very important. Most of the students can exaggerate the exam cases, exam situations, so we should be ensured that the real person is getting the exam. Both the content and the exam should be redesigned as they will lead to oral and written use of target language by the students. So we should redesign our way of testing and evaluation. Oral examination should be given to students besides online exams. Course contents should be limited. This is very important. We cannot follow the same curriculum that we use in traditional education. That's why distance education needs a new curriculum where the contents are limited. Both students and teachers should have uninterrupted internet access. Both students and teachers should be given in-service training on the systems such as Zoom and Blackboard that are used with distance education. Teacher training programs should include digital material preparation courses. Teachers should be furnished with skills and knowledge about giving online courses. Unfortunately, we are not so much familiar with distance education, how we are going to stand, how we are going to use our hands, how we are going to adjust our voice volume, interactions, stress, intonations. So these are highly important. We should furnish our future teachers with skills. And parents' awareness should be promoted on their roles and responsibilities. And somehow guidance and counseling should be given by the support of parents under the auspices of schools guidance services. During the distance education, the service given by the counselors, guidance and counselors, should be given by the parents, but we should somehow furnish them, make them part of the process that will support our activities, teaching activities. As a conclusion, education has moved home outside of the school. This new situation has exposed all the stakeholders of education, decision makers at governmental level, education planners, teachers, students, families, and even course book writers and instructional material designers to affirm new commitments to fill the instructional gaps in emergency cases. As you remember, at the very beginning of my presentation, I said that distance education is used to bridge the gap in instruction when we stop traditional education. So everybody, all shareholders have responsibilities to fill the instructional gaps in emergency cases. It is believed that having an idea on teachers' perceptions on distance education, learning the difficulties experienced by them during the COVID-19 epidemic, and getting the first-hand suggestions to make better the process will make contributions to the generic strategic planning to build the future. That's why ideas of the teachers in the kitchen is very important. They know the reality and they want to find solutions within their own perspective. That's why we must reach them. We must learn all their ideas on issues like this. Under the light of the ideas expressed by Stolovich and Keeps, all people learn through active mental activity. Learning is changing. We as the teachers are not simply conveying knowledge, we change people too. Student-centered and performance-based efforts result in learning and transformation. I'm sure that the findings of these and further similar studies will cast light on the planning and implementation of foreign language teaching with distance learning in the future. And I would like to extend my thanks for your attention. And this is my email address. Please feel free to write, to ask any questions, anything. And I will appreciate if I have an opportunity to answer your questions and share links for my further studies. Thank you very much. And I am ready to answer all your questions. Thank you very much for your attention again.
Thank you very much for your explanations.
Değerli Hakan Hocama çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Sunumunuz için hocam, değerli katkılarınız için. Nejat Hocam, program akışında siz gözüküyorsunuz hocam. Sizi co-host yaptım. Sözü size bırakıyorum. Teşekkürler.
Teşekkür ederim öncelikle. Umuyorum ekranım görünüyordur.
Yes, we can see it.
Öncelikle ben de İstanbul'un çeşitli yerlerinden katılmakta olan öğretmen meslektaşlarıma, Milli Eğitim Müdürlüğü'nün idareci ve personeline, Maltepe Üniversitesi Rektör Yardımcımıza, İngilizce öğretmenliği programındaki hocalara, araştırma görevlilerine ve yüksek lisans öğrencilerimize katılımları için teşekkür ediyorum. Umuyorum geçirdiğiniz zamana değecek bir çalışma olur. Umuyorum hepimiz sağlıkla bu zor günleri geçebiliriz. Ben kendi konuma geçmeden önce küçük bir ekleme yapmak isterim. Gerçi tamamıyla başka bir konu ama dünyada konuşulan pek çoğunuzun bildiği gibi pek çok İngilizce var. Sadece bizim öğretmeye çalıştığımız Amerikan ya da İngiliz standart İngilizceleri dışında sayısının en son 61 olduğu tespit edilen 61 ayrı İngiliz ülkede kullanılan İngilizce var ki buna diyalektler ve aksanlar dahil değil. Yani bizim öğretmeye çalıştığımız İngilizce de bizim kullandığımız zaman zaman öğrencilerimize tenkit ettiğimiz doğru olmadığını söylediğimiz pek çok şey aslında pek çok İngilizceye baktığımız zaman çok da yanlış olmayabiliyor. Bunu eğer aklımızda tutarsak elbette ki biz standart İngilizceyi öğretmemiz bir uniformity açısından daha mantıklı. Ama unutmayalım ki dünyada konuşulan pek çok İngilizce var ve bunların hepsine birden öğrencilerimizi bir şekilde bir farkındalık yaratmakta aslında bizim görevlerimiz arasında olmalı ki yarın öbür gün öğrenci bir yerde örneğin bir Nijeryalı'nın ya da bir Galli'nin ya da bir İskoç'un İngilizce konuştuğunu duyunca şaşırmaması ve ne dediğini iyi kötü çıkarabilmesi için böyle bir farkındalık yaratmamızda yararlı olabilir. So, my topic is how to teach English with literature. And I believe that the literature matters, just like the Black Lives. And first of all, let's try to make sure why teachers are keeping their distance a little bit to the use of literature in their language classrooms. At first, I should state that my suggestion is not to teach literature. My suggestion is to teach English or French or German, whatever the language you are aiming at, is to teach English by the help of literature. There are many opportunities there are many tools you can use during the teaching of English. However, I'm going to be claiming that throughout my presentation, literature is usually a neglected area or tool which could attract the attention of your students into your lessons. And let's try to find if you have sharing any of these hesitations. First of all, the previous experience of the teacher. Perhaps you tried to use literature in the past, but the result was unsatisfactory, then you gave up. And a long-term exclusion from literature, I'm sure some of you, or perhaps 50% of you, are graduates of literature departments, either American culture and literature or British or English literature and language departments. And it has been some years since you graduated from those departments and you do not remember exactly what you studied many years ago. Yeah, it could be a reason. And stepping out of comfort zone, this is a problem for everybody. Of course, you feel relaxed, you feel comfortable as you are doing your lessons with the topic and with the materials given to you by the publishing companies. You know, you have got your workbooks, you have got your online material, you have got even the answers of the questions that you are going to ask to your students, don't you? You do. And so it is going to be a little bit, challenging for you. And it is going to be a little bit going out of your routine. And students' hesitation, because of previous experiences of the students, they may be a little bit cold to the use of literature, because the new generations, we teachers always say that the new generations do not read as much as we did when we were children. An extra burden, of course, I'm sure you're all busy with your tight schedule, and in addition to other problems which are caused by living in Istanbul, in a big city. Yes, an extra burden. Yes, and non-linear teaching. What's that? What do I mean by this word, non-linear teaching? If you are teaching any language, you go step by step. You usually begin with the simplest vocabulary, then you begin with this simple present tense and present continuous tense, etc., etc., etc. You go on like that. But if you intend to use literature in your language classrooms, it is going to be non-linear. It is going to be without any care about the priorities of the structures. Now, let's try to break some myths, or let's try to challenge your prejudices. You need to be an expert in literature. I am a graduate of ELT department, and I don't know much about literature. Yes, I know. I'm a graduate of translation and interpreting department. I don't know much about literature. I know that too. And I'm a graduate of, I'm a graduate of English literature and language department, but it has been years, and I'm not an expert. Of course, these are very good causes or excuses for not using literature in your classroom, but you do not need to be an expert. Believe me, you do not need to be an expert, because I'm going to be showing you a few examples that are going to be very easy to use in the classroom, ladies and gentlemen. And these are the reasons which are suggested by other people previously. Painful memories of literature classes, you hated perhaps because of yourself, because of your teacher, and weighty tones of long dead writers. I like this expression because particularly in English language and literature departments, I'm a graduate of those departments too. And you need to study for example, Chaucer or Shakespeare or Marlowe or Emily Dickinson and such, they are dead. Yeah, I know. And most of them are male. And there are only few female writers. I'm going to be giving you an example of those female writers today. Yes, they don't read books. We know that. But we have to accept it. We know that we are well aware of the fact that the new generation do not like to read themselves. So we are going to create an impetus for them to read. How are we going to do that? I'm going to try to give you some clues about it. The study of language and the study of literature, two different departments, two different mindsets. Yes, but they are on most points, they are overlapping, they are intersecting, they come together regarding many issues. And no, it does not deal with literature. It does not mean that it is the work of an expert. No, it is not. I'm going to show you. It must be proper literature. This is non-canonical, non-classic text, yes, because some topics may be a little bit difficult to be studying in the classrooms, particularly if there's too much, let's say, obscenities, if there is too much, let's say, religious issues, etc., etc., etc. And non-canonical means the work of people who are not famous yet. Perhaps they will be famous in the future. For example, canonical work is the work of Shakespeare, or canonical work is the work of, let's say, Mehmet Akif Ersoy in our literature. non-classic text, but it doesn't have to be proper literature in quotation marks, of course. It could be any works even written by the students themselves, or you could introduce your own works, your own poems. I'm sure some of you are very good poets or short story writers. I don't know how many of you ever try to do that, but you can easily introduce those topics, and you can motivate them. You can encourage them to write their own poems for the classes, and it is going to be used. It is too hard for the students. No, perhaps you do not know. You cannot decide upon the level of the subjects you introduce into the classroom. And they may not feel passionate about the literary text that you are going to bring into the classroom. But if you choose the correct text, if you choose the text according to the level and age, etc., which I am going to be talking soon, they are not going to feel scared. They are going to be participating. And there is not enough time, I know. You have got the tight schedule, but you can still introduce those literary works, short stories or poems or extracts from, let's say, from plays or from novels into your classrooms. You don't need to cover every page. You're going to make them read it, and you may simply check if they have read or not. Or if you are intending to do pleasure reading, you don't even need to check. But personally, I believe that our students need to be checked from time to time according to our, nationalistic, or let's say national upbringing. We need to be checked from time to time. This is my belief. You may agree or not. Why should literature be used in language teaching? Okay, this is something I would like to emphasize. Even though it was written in the 14th century, even though it was written in another country by another culture, you can study the works of other people. For instance, Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. If you are a graduate of literature departments, I'm sure you are familiar with it. But even if you are not, you may have heard it before, and it has been translated into our language too. And the topics, the vocabulary, I'm not, of course, talking about the original version of that. All the old works which were written in Old English or Middle English have already been translated into contemporary English. The issues may attract the attention of your students. I'm not saying that Canterbury Tales are going to be attracting but there is for example, The Wife of Bath. The Wife of Bath. There's a woman from the city of Bath in that, let's say, Canterbury Tales. And when I introduce it in my literature classes, it is always attracting the attention of all the students, because she's a very colorful character. The similar ones are still visible on our streets even today. And it doesn't have to be written in our country. It doesn't have to be written in Britain. It doesn't have to be written in the United States of America. It can speak to you. And of course, when we watch a movie, consciously or unconsciously, we find ourselves identified with one of the characters in the movie. And when we read a book, we may identify ourselves with one of the characters in the book. We may close to that. And this is the emotional appeal. Therefore, you wish to read it. You wish to find out what is going to happen in the end. And in addition to this emotional appeal, It also broadens our perspectives on the world. We know what is happening in other parts of the world, or what happened in other parts of the world. For example, today, all the speakers have been talking about the effects of the pandemic in our world and in our culture, in our country. And you can find such similar effects of pandemics in literature too. You may bring them into classroom. For example, in Romeo and Juliet. I don't know how many of you read it before, but the main reason why Romeo and Juliet cannot come together is another pandemic, the Black Death of the time, because of the messenger is not allowed to go out of the inn that he has to stay, and he cannot tell Romeo that Juliet is not dead, etc., etc. You can find such literature. You can find such text and bring it into the classroom, and they may be attracted to that. And of course, it is bringing us a lot of subject, and you are going to be finding a lot of similarities with our culture and with the culture of other countries. And as you know, we have some similarities with the Middle Eastern countries, with the world in the east of the world, according to the used maps. But we also some affinities, some similarities with the Western world. Our habits have been changing, and particularly university students, lycée students, middle school students are going to find a lot of similarities with them and with the people living in other parts of the world. The world has become a smaller place, as you know. And as we said at the beginning, it does not need any specialist training. I'm going to show a few poems which you can find very useful in your classrooms. They could be brief, they could be contemporary, and they could be relevant. Relevant to what? Relevant to their lives, relevant to their hobbies, relevant to their interests, relevant to their culture, relevant to their inner world. And of course, it is very good material to enhance, to supplement or complement the curriculum that we are all bound with. You are given a task at the very beginning of the year, and you are expected to You are expected to cover all the subjects in that curriculum or in that syllabus, according if you are a university teacher, and you are only restricted with that curriculum. So you are going to go beyond it. And it is going to be, It is going to be improve all the skills, reading skills, speaking skills, writing skills, listening skills, vocabulary, etc., etc. And all the skills are going to improve. And of course, I asked that question to my students a few weeks ago too. And for example, if you are trying to teach, let's say, passive voice or indirect speech or subjunctives throughout a year, how many times do they come across those let's say, a little bit complicated structures? How many times? You just talk about it, let's say, for a lesson or for 2 lessons, and you have got the workbook exercises, and you pass on to the other subjects in the list. But in a novel or in a short story, you may find frequent use of such structures that the students are not going to come across very often. And of course, if you are lucky enough to have students who read the work that you suggest them to read, it is going to make the class very interactive. In place of sleepy students, bored students in the classroom, you are going to find students who are wishing to, who are very eager to talk to you about the work that they have read. They would like to share their opinions and feelings about it. And it is going to be, if they are selected well, they are going to be very motivating. If they are selected well, I'm going to give you the selection criteria in a few seconds. And it opens a new world to the student, or a new world of what? 15th century Britain, 19th century Mexico, 20th century Britain, or 21st century, let's say, China. They are going to be seeing how people are living in other parts of the world. Yes, of course, today, by means of television, by means of internet, by means of social media, they are aware of what's happening in other parts of the world. But in all those tools or medium, something is lacking. This is what feeling. They are going to get the feelings through the literary works. And sometimes our classrooms go monotonous, whether you like it or not. Repetition, some structural work make our classroom very monotonous. So it is going to drive away the monotony of traditional language classes. And if you have worn out, if you have traveled a long distance from your home to your school, etc., it is going to be a tired teacher, a tired student, a bored teacher, a bored student. So it is going to drive away this monotony of the traditional language classrooms. And it is going to introduce that aesthetic, moral, and spiritual values of another nation, aesthetic. For example, if you are reading a work by, let's say, Emily Dickinson, you are going to learn how life was lived in the United States in the 19th century. You are going to be learning about that life. Or if you are reading other works by, for example, let's say, Chaucer again, you are going to learn a lot of clues about how life was lived in Britain and their aesthetic values, moral values, because moral values are also changing. Spiritual values are also changing. We are different from our parents, and our parents are also different from their own parents. And our children are going to be different from us too. And inevitably, the moral values are changing. And perhaps they are going to find some similarities. We are going to find some differences. Okay, I'm not going to repeating the same ideas, similar ideas. And literature also enables students to work together. If you can manage it, if you can if you can make good classroom teams, they are going to be sharing their own reading. And group conversations, group work, teamwork, pair work, are the exercise types that you can easily use in the classrooms. And linguistic competence and communicative competence are going to come one after the other. They are going to be used, they are going to be improved together. And again, improvement of imagination and, of course, creativity will also improve. They are going to be perhaps courageous enough to share their own works which they have been keeping or hiding so cautiously under their beds or in their drawers with you. And you are going to be perhaps encourage them. You are going to be encouraging them to read and to write more. And we have already said that, and they are going to be fluent speakers and workers, because they are going to be exposed to language more than their restricted tools in the classroom environment. And of course, with meta language, with stylistics, which they inevitably come across, they are going to go beyond the surface meaning and to the underlying meanings. They are going to get what irony is, what oxymoron is, what paradox is, what is, let's say, metonymy, and all the other literary works. Of course, this is not going to be something that you are going to be doing with low-level students. No, I'm not suggesting that. But if you are lucky enough to have advanced level students in the real sense of the meaning, you are going to be using all that meta language exercises. And of course, this is the repetition of the same idea. Figurative language is going to be, you know, in our daily lives, we use a lot of figurative language. And they are going to come across such figurative language in literature. In the classroom context, they may not come across so much figurative language, but in literature, they are going to encounter a lot of figurative language. And representational materials, and they are going to use this representational material to their own lives, and this is going to attract them into the classroom. And inevitably, ladies and gentlemen, their interpretational and inferential skills will develop, because, you know, sometimes in literature, not every detail is given. They have to infer it. They have to conclude it. They have to understand with the clues, which are, for example, if you are reading an Agatha Christie's, novels, you're not, or stories, you're not going to guess who the perpetrator is until the very end. This is her success. But you can, if you are a good reader, and if you have been reading a lot of Agatha Christie work, you may take it from the clues in the texts. Okay, we have already suggested that. And this is something I value. We are imaginatively engaged in our reading. We inhabit the text. This is what I'm saying, what I said twice. And as we are reading it, we become one of the characters. We become a silent participant in the work. We are with the people in the work. We are with Romeo. We are with Juliet. We are with Paris. We are with Rosaline and all the other characters in the novel. And of course, so do our students. They become one of the characters and they respond positively if you are feeling attracted to that work. Okay. How should we select the text? Now, these are my criteria: age, gender, their emotional understanding, their intellectual maturity, their linguistic proficiency, their interests and hobbies, their cultural background, their social and political expectations, cultural or ethnic background, nationality of students, previous experience of reading literary text and literary background, which is very poor nowadays. This is my personal experience. And texts which are suitable for the majority of students included selected. Yes, if you would like to share it among your students, you may select different books for different students. Of course, what is ideal is that all the students are more or less at the same proficiency level, but they're not. And therefore, you may suggest them different books for them to read. Okay. And this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not show that you love reading, they are not going to be attracted. You're not going to be influencing them. They're not going to be attracted to the literature. So you must show with your mimics and gestures and carefully selected words that you are a bookworm or you love reading. Then this is going to be a very positive effect upon your students. Therefore, I say a particular work should arouse interest in readers, provoke positive reactions, sometimes negative reactions, but this is not something I expect from students. Be enjoyable and meaningful. Be relevant to the life experience, emotions, and dreams of the readers. In our context, the students, of course. And they should be within students' normal reading proficiency. It shouldn't be too hard or too easy. Above or below their level. No, according to it should be tailored according to their level. And when you are choosing the courses, you should also take into consideration these. What is that? Level of students. We have always said that their reasons for learning English. Are they going to what are they going to do with English? Are they going to be a student, if you are a lycée teacher, for instance, are they going to be a student in the English departments, or is their aim to pass the preparatory class, or what kind of English you need? English for academic purposes? You should decide that first of all. And how intensive is course? Are you going to, if you are teaching them 4 hours a week, you should adjust your lesson according to that. If you are teaching 10 hours a week, you should again think about the hours and how you can fill in those let's say 10 hours a week, or how many weeks a year. 37 or 38 weeks it was for secondary institutions, secondary level educational institutions. I don't know the final number, but for universities, 14 plus 14. Is there a syllabus? Is your syllabus flexible? I know that in most cases it is not, but you can still include it into your classrooms, and you can give the answer of this question. And what kind of text? Poems, a full-length play, extracts from novels? You should decide upon that too. I'm going to be showing some extracts from novels and poems too. Exercise types. I'm not going to be giving you details of all these exercise type. Just I would like to raise an awareness that a lot of exercises are possible, some of which you see here. And skimming, scanning, jigsaw reading, drawing conclusions, making inferences, predicting, sequencing, previewing, establishing a purpose for reading, establishing and adjusting purposes for reading, adjusting reading rate according to purpose for reading. These are the exercises that you can easily apply in the classroom. Some of them I teach in my classes too. And using the title and the cover design, visual prompts, using the theme, keywords and sentences, questionnaires, listening in, biographical montage, choosing the prediction, what happens next, writing chapter 0. All these exercises are very good exercises, very useful exercises. And all of you can use these exercises. They are very easy. They are very easy. And you can find the details of these exercises on the internet easily. If you need further information about this, I can easily supply you with the books or the names of the books that you may use. Anything else? Question and answer worksheets, complete the sentences, true or false, summaries with gaps, summaries with incomplete sentences, summary comparison, key points for summaries, jumbled events. All of them I teach my students. I teach all of these exercise types to my students. I don't know exactly how many of them can use how many of these exercises, but they can be applicable. They can be easily applied in the classrooms. I taught English myself for 12 years, and I know which one of these exercises can be applied in the classrooms. Retelling the story, connectors and summary writing, summarizing the summary, poems, tweeting, and agony end column, epitaphs, missing poster. For example, you know, our generation is accustomed to, or was accustomed to seeing agony ends, you know, Güzin abla, for their problems. But the new generation don't know much about it. They can easily find information about their problems on the internet. But I can use, change some of these exercises as, for example, instead of letters, I make them write emails. There's no tweeting exercise. This is something I added myself. I want them to write tweets about a work that they read, because in tweets, you know, the number of words is limited. So, or I expect them to write an SMS, an appreciation of a literary work, or a suggestion of a literary work, or epitaphs. For example, there are, in most works of literature, you know, there's always a death of a person, and I expect them to write an epitaph. It is usually, it's, of course, epitaphs are not fun, but this exercise is creates a lot of fun. Missing poster for somebody missing in the work. Listening, mini reading aloud, you know, these are the other exercises you may use in the classroom. Cover design, writing a blurb for the back cover. For example, blurb, you know, when you decide, when you are in a bookstore, you know, sometimes you go and buy the book that is in your mind, but sometimes you decide to buy the book instantly, you know, you just look at the cover and look at the back cover of the book, and the blurb is the information about the book on the at the back of the, and I ask my students to write a blurb for the back cover of a book themselves. What if exercises? This is very good, for example, very useful for modal perfects. Modal perfects. What if he had been, as for example, or what if, you know, such modal perfect, retelling the story, choosing highlights, emails, last page plus one. This is another very useful exercise. After they have read the book, I expect them to write one more book. What may have happened after the last page? The book on Instagram, they may write an Instagram photograph or picture, which they are going to share with their friends. These are very, you know, conventional exercises. Of course, it is predicting content. It should be. Okay, now. My samples, and as far as online teaching is concerned, of course, I know the disadvantages, and I agree with Hakan Hoca about most of the details he shared with us. And there are some disadvantages of this distant education, but we can turn it into an advantage. But if you are lucky enough, again, I'm saying, if you are lucky enough to be using a canon, a work of canon, for example, Bronte sisters, Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, I'm sure you are all familiar with that. You may just bring this page into the screen. This is about the time when she broke her slate in the classroom. If you read the book, you will remember that page. You may study this page in order to what? In order to study, for example, if clauses or modal perfects, etc., etc. But taking advantage of the distant education or computers and let's say the internet, you may also find this episode from the internet and show it, play it to your students. Let's try to share it again with you, if I can.
Altına bir peçete.
Starting out with any new project management software usually feels something like this. Where do you
You can easily turn on the subtitle if you like.
It is your mission to render her contrite and self-denying.
She drops her slate, Jane Eyre. This is just like the original novel. She's made to stand on a stool in front of everybody, and she's mortified.
Children, I exhort you to shun her, exclude her, shut her out from this day. Hold the hand of friendship, deny your love to Jane Eyre, the liar.
Okay, so you may find this in this, let me say, okay, you are going to find the same page here, and you are going to find it on the internet, on YouTube. YouTube is very useful, and you can do the same with Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens if you like. But I don't want to take too much of your time, and I would like to show you a few poems. Now, look at that. Look at that. This poem by Langston Hughes. Okay. Mirror, mirror on the wall, could you please return our ball? Our football went through your crack. You have to two now. Give one back. You need. Do you think you need? Let's say a lot of literature education for doing this lesson to this poem in your lessons? No, you can easily find animation of this poem on the internet. Langston Hughes is one of my favorite poets, and you see, you can use it very easily. Or look at the beauty of this poem by E.E. Cummings. Can you see what this is? The original script. I have not changed a word. E.E. Cummings. Look at it. What do you see here? A leaf falls. Loneliness. Can you see it in the downward direction? A leaf falls. You can talk for hours about this simple poem in your classrooms. A leaf falls. Loneliness. This is the original version. I have not changed a word. You can find the animation or let's say a recorded voice on the internet too. What else? Look at it. You can use it when you are teaching it in the classroom. Your comparison and your comparatives and superlatives. Bruce Lansky, I suggest you to see this guy. His poetry is very useful for our classroom. Poor as a church mouse, strong as an ox, cute as a button. Don't you teach them all these comparatives? Smart as a fox, teen as a toothpick, white as a ghost, fit as a fiddle, etc., etc., etc. You see, there are all these comparisons which people use in their language lessons. And how I quit sucking my thumb. You know, some students of yours, perhaps your kids too, suck their thumbs. Look at it. My mother says it's childish and my father says it is dumb. Whenever they discover that, I'm sucking on my thumb. It is such a silly thing to do, as everybody knows. So instead of sucking it, I stick it in my nose. So it is funny, and your students are going to like it. They are going to be either in the, let's say, primary school or secondary school, or even in lycée. They may like it, and they may feel attracted to this poet and poem. And on Mother's Day, it's another example. It isn't smart to give your mom a broken heart. Get the rhyme. Should hear our thing you shouldn't say to dear old Mother's Day. Don't tell her that you will never eat a carrot, celery, bean, or beet. Don't tell her you think smoking is cool. Don't tell you have dropped out of school. Don't tell her that you have drowned the cat. Don't tell her that she looks too fat. Don't tell her that when you grown you will be a starving poet just like me. So, you see, you are going to find a lot of poets and a lot of poems which you can easily exploit, use in your classrooms. And it is going to draw your students into the classroom. And look at the beauty of this poem. And you can find it on the internet too. This is about the 40-year old couple who have worn and torn over the years. Their relationship has worn out a little bit. And look at it is like a tennis play. Middle-aged couple playing tennis when the game ends and they go home. The net will still be between them. So although they play tennis, there will still be an invisible net, invisible barrier between them. You can use Roger McCaw's poetry too in your classrooms. It's just like it's written like a tennis, game. And I skipped some items in order not to take too much of your time. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for sharing in this organization. And if you have any questions, you can easily contact me with my email. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Tanger, for your effective presentation about becoming friends with literature, which is a nightmare for some of us. And now it's Mr. Arga and Mrs. Tokcan's turn, I think, with the headline Online Teaching of Listening and Speaking and Analysis of Teacher and Student Experience. In this session, we have a chance to ask questions to our academicians. Just first 3 questions, by the way. Yes, Mr. Arga and Mrs. Tokcan, it's your turn. Thank you.
Merhaba.
Merhabalar. Biz tek bir bilgisayar kullanıyor olacağız. 2 bilgisayar arasında git gel yapmamak adına.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
We'll be following the comments from one computer and we will going through the slides in another computer. So we will try to use the technology effectively.
So if you have any comments or any suggestions, just write in the chat, and the other computer is on here and we can see your comments. We would like to hear your ideas as well.
Let's try to share the screen.
Here.
This one. Yes. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see it clearly.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be starting. First of all, we wanted to focus on before the pandemic part. What was the situation for online teaching? And we saw that even before the COVID-19 pandemic, online teaching had already been accepted as one of the key components of school systems, since it provides opportunity for students who are at risk due to a chronic illness, or have physical disabilities, or have no access to schooling facilities, and therefore need an alternative to traditional face-to-face education. And before the pandemic, the applications of online education were solely conducted by online education experts who were trained for distance education applications and systems. On the other hand, the students were also experienced, since their condition, like their reason to be enrolled in online education, had been persistent for a considerable amount of time. But with the pandemic, it was the beginning of a new era, and the pandemic has widened this online education cohort, facing the remainder of teachers, of students, with little or no experience involved in this process. So as teachers, we had to adapt to this new era very quickly, because we just went into lockdown in a week, and the education had to continue in a way. So it has been a unique experience for both students and teachers, due to the fact that they had to adapt to a completely different environment within days, like I said, and like we all experienced. And what happened to language teaching in the COVID-19 area? We are going to be focusing on listening and speaking teaching in this online education process. And we talked to some of the teachers who have been doing activities, listening and speaking activities in our university. And these next slides are what we understood from their comments. In some ways, live online lessons are similar to traditional face-to-face classes, in the sense that a teacher can present information and interact with a group of people in real time. This is what we try to do mostly when we open our computers. When we log into the systems, we expect our students to be there, and we try to present new things to them. In that sense, the listening and speaking activities as well did not change at all, because the teachers we talked to, they mentioned that with the help of technology, with the help of online platforms they are using, it is easier to do speaking and listening activities, because students would be listening, and if they are eager, they can turn on their microphones or their cameras and they can join the classroom. But what the teachers face is that the class hours in online teaching, it gives them a compact amount of time, because here in face-to-face education, they have more time with the students. But in online education, if we are talking about 2 lesson hours, we combine it into one, and we do not maybe give a break or just do everything in an hour and finish it up. So this might give the teachers less time with the students. So maybe she has to adapt she or he has to adapt the activities according to this time limit. And one very important fact of face-to-face classes, teachers rely on the visual feedback they get from observing the classroom environment, because when we are doing a listening activity, we can observe the students. We see their faces, and if there's a problem, if they are facing something, we can go and help them. But in the online classes, unfortunately, as Hakan Hocam and some of you have mentioned, the students are not eager to turn on their cameras, giving the teacher to not follow them, to not see them. So, as we said here, this visual feedback enables teachers during a listening and speaking activity to monitor the students doing the activity, or even to encourage shy learners to participate. But with online classes, students tend to believe that they are invisible since the teacher cannot see them. And sometimes they choose to stay invisible. In the internet or in the articles that you can find about online teaching, you can see that online teaching is actually a promoter for shy students to join the classes, because there are not a lot of people watching them, or all eyes are not on them. But when we talk to the students, my colleague will share the details of our research. We saw that is not sometimes the case. And to talk about our research, our study aims to explore how the teaching and learning experience has changed in speaking and listening classes during the COVID-19 pandemic for university students. Since we are here at the university, we wanted to do this research with the freshman students. Currently in our freshman class, we have 36 students. So we shared an online in-class feedback form with our learners, and they have shared their experiences and expectations from their listening course, as you can see on the screen. Its name is listening, but their teacher helps them do some speaking activities as well. The details my colleague will inform you about. Now, I will give the microphone to Bora. And
hello, everyone. I'll be continuing the presentation from this point. You can see our questions on the screen. We asked 5 questions. These are open-ended questions to our students, freshman students. We have 36 of them this year. The pandemic did not affect the number of our students, but some of them remained in prep school. Therefore, we have less than 50 students this year. Let's go over the questions. In your opinion, first of which is, what are the differences between face-to-face and online education while doing listening and speaking activities? Which one would you prefer? This was our first question. Do you face any difficulties during online listening and speaking lessons? If you do, what are they, and how do you think they affect your performance? This is the second one. What obstacles do you face when participating in online speaking and listening activities? This was our third question, but we got similar replies with the second one, because they did not comment on the activity level. Our fourth question was, what are your expectations from a listening speaking course? Do the online activities meet these expectations? So we ask whether they are content with their current applications, the procedures that they have in their classes right now, and elicited their responses. And our final question was, if you had a chance to change something in the listening and speaking courses in the online education process, what would it be? So these were the questions. And I would like you to elicit your responses for these questions too. What do you think in the manner they replied? What are your opinions? We are following the comments right now.
Yes, we would really like your opinions. How do you think the students responded to these questions?
Hoş geldiniz hocam. Yok estağfurullah hocam, buyurun.
Do you have any comments? Would like to make an educated guess, maybe?
Nurhan hocam said face-to-face education, I think, for the first question.
İpek hocam said both. Yeah. Face-to-face, hybrid, both. We have different opinions. Maybe we can benefit from the cons of both methods and platforms of teaching.
Yes. As Nurhan hocam said, internet connection is a big problem. The students mentioned that as well.
Any other responses do you have? We can't see the students at all at once. That's another problem. They, as Hakan hocam said beforehand, they are reluctant to turn on their cameras. And if they do so, we cannot see their faces all the time because the systems do not allow us, like Blackboard we use at our university. We can see only 6 of the students at the same time.
Hocam said prefer online teaching because you can reach more sources. That's actually a very nice point.
Yes, we can share materials easily. We don't need to photocopy materials. We don't need to have printed books, etc. It is more environmentally friendly, and students also cannot come with the argument that they forgot their book, etc. They could not reach to the sources. All available all the time online. So yeah, we also have smart boards. We have everything.
But unfortunately, some of the schools do not have smart boards, as far as I know. Yes, economical.
Yeah, access to technology is another issue.
Yes.
We all have problems, and there are pros and cons. So I would like to continue with the replies from the students. Meral hocam said it is not possible to make students work in groups. It depends on the software that we are using. For example, we use Blackboard in our university, and you can do group activities. You can divide the students into groups, and you choose the number of students in each group. Therefore, it allows them to study in individual groups. But maybe in EBA or other platforms such as Zoom or Adobe Connect, it may not be possible. So that's another handicap. Arzu hocam said you can use break room function.
Okay, hocam. Zoom has that
Celal
function.
hocam said yes, Zoom has that function. So we need to discover. We are also amateurs because this is a new aspect of technology. We had to adapt to this environment in a short amount of time. So it takes time to get used to things. Elif hocam said, yeah.
At the beginning of the pandemic, just eager students participated, and honestly, it was fun to teach them, but I used role play activities, which is my favorite. Yes, we cannot perform some of the activities we normally do in online teaching, like role play, but maybe we can have them, I don't know, record videos at that point. And yes, for lower levels like primary and secondary schools, parents are a huge problem. They may cause a huge problem, but within university, we did not get a response from the students that they have problems with their parents and like that. But yes, for primary, secondary, or even high school levels, parents may want to participate more than the kids. That's a fact.
Okay, I'm going to continue with the student responses, the results of our research. As for the first question, in your opinion, what are the differences between face-to-face and online education while doing listening and speaking activities? Which one would you prefer, we said. Almost all students prefer face-to-face education, for it is more effective and makes understanding easier, they said. Let us not forget that they use the school, the university campus, also their high school building at K-12 context, as a point of socialization. They meet their friends, play games, drink coffee maybe, and they use that socializing platform. That's why also they prefer face-to-face education. But they also have a point, as is the case for the speaking and listening activities, because it is easier to speak in a face-to-face environment. They raise their hands, they make themselves visible to their teacher or instructor, so they favor face-to-face education. Some other students believe that simultaneously disrupt the learning environment in online education. Yes, this also creates an inconvenient environment because unlike the face-to-face environment, the sound becomes even more unbearable in an online context. So it becomes totally gibberish. Therefore, they support face-to-face as well at this point. One student believes that real classroom environment encourages them to participate more, while online education doesn't. So they probably think that seeing their colleagues participating and opening a discussion, they also would like to say something on the other points. They may want to ask follow-up questions maybe. And they favor face-to-face education. It is also stated that since there is no physical interaction and eye contact, the instructor may not be able to spot the students who are willing to participate. And also maybe because they don't turn on the cameras, the teachers, of course, are unable to spot whether they are willing to participate or not. We have one comment. I don't think it is safe for the students to show their faces on such online apps. I always make them turn their cams off. This time I feel like I am talking to myself, even though I can only hear them. For the teacher's point, it's a big handicap because it is like you're talking to wall. It's a huge gap, like I don't know, you're talking to yourself, like it's like a monologue, sorry. But you have a point, the online platforms may not be safe. For example, third-party applications, it may not be the case for the EBA or Blackboard that we are using because these are specific to our institutions, but in the third-party environments like Skype, Zoom, it may not be safe. We cannot guarantee, of course. They work outside our systems, and that is why they may not be that reliable.
But it is nice that they only let their microphones on. At least you can hear some of the students. Sometimes they just turn everything off, and then it is a bigger handicap for the teacher. We are actually looking for the answer to that question as well. Why are they unwilling to turn on their at least microphones and respond to what the teacher is saying.
On the other hand, a small portion of students hold the view that speaking and listening activities require no physical interaction, therefore should be done online instead. Another reason stated is that speaking face-to-face can be difficult for some people. They may have a point. Some students may not have the same level of social skills as the others, because this time the individual factors kick in, which dramatically affect their performance in class. But in an online environment, which they are more familiar, because they play games online, they record videos, put them on YouTube, etc. They do this stuff, and they are familiar and therefore more comfortable with online systems and with their computers. Could you write your comment, please?
Yes, it would be better if you, but maybe at the end we can
elicit
talk.
your,
yes.
Yeah. Maybe for language teaching, we can create online classes just to speak the target language, like speaking clubs, said Büşra Hocam.
Maybe with safe platforms, like Bora Hocam said, that can be done. Yes, then they can turn on their cameras and microphones.
Let's move on to second question. We said, do you face any difficulties during online listening and speaking lessons? If you do, what are they and how do you think they affect your performance? Almost all students, either favoring face-to-face or online education, have had issues, such as they cannot focus on the lesson because of their bad equipment or poor internet connectivity, all of which impair their communication with their instructor as well as their colleagues. They cannot hear their colleagues, they cannot hear their teachers, and they cannot respond to questions in a timely manner, which negatively affect their participation in class participation. They also stated that they hate typing. Also, typos impair their communication as well. Other replies for the second question are, they would like to separate their private life with school, therefore do not want to join classes at home to keep themselves motivated. Some students, maybe all students, get up early. Maybe they may not be happy with getting up early, but they get dressed, they prepare for the school, they prepare their bag, maybe make a playlist on the way to school to listen. They are all motivational factors. And if they just get up from their bed and turn their computer on within less than 5 minutes, maybe, even without washing their face in the first place, they drops their motivation. The other stated that she is shy and cannot find the courage to turn her microphone on and speak, even though she wants to. She also holds the belief that teachers should not force them to participate. For such students, an online platform may be more beneficial because they may refuse to turn their microphone or camera on. But in a class environment, the teacher may, in a gently manner, force and therefore encourage the student to speak or interact with the other students.
Or maybe it will be easier for the teacher to spot these kind of students, because with the camera and microphone off, it's very hard to tell if the student is really there listening to the classroom, if he or she wants to participate and just cannot because they are just simply shy. So maybe, who was it? Yes, Büşra Hocam suggested maybe we can talk about creating a speaking club just for these kind of students, and maybe move their courage up. Sorry.
Arzu Hocam said, I have triplets in my class. They have only one mobile phone to attend classes. Yeah, that's a negative aspect, unfortunately. As we said, the access to technology is a big issue in Turkey, unfortunately. As for the third question, we said, what are the obstacles do you face when participating in online speaking and listening activities? As for this question, students restated their general idea on online education rather than commenting on activity level. Instead, they stated their opinions in the section that we asked about their opinions and suggestions. Different from the question 2, some stated that they have no issue at all. This indicates that issues mostly occur due to technicalities, as we mentioned a couple of times before, such as device or network issues, and the learning platform does not dramatically affect their performance. So whether it is face-to-face or an online platform, their level of speaking skills do not differ, of course. They are able to use their skills at the same level in each platform, given that they have an equal platform of participation without any technicalities or issues such as network issues or having just one smartphone at home, which is used by 3 students at the same time. However, one student stated that she has a big family at home and have no availability to turn on her camera or microphone. That's another issue. Even if they have access to a safe and sound computer or internet access, they may not have the physical environment to turn their camera on or turn on their microphone and cannot find a silent place to take an active role in the classes. That's another handicap that we need to consider before asking students to join their classes and taking an active role. For the fourth question, we said, what are your expectations from a listening speaking course? Do the online activities meet these expectations? As for this question, almost all of our students are content with the current activities implemented. It has flipped classroom, video analysis, such as TED Talks, bottom-up or top-down listening activities, etc. So they are happy with the current applications. In our listening class, of course, you may ask for them to fill up a similar questionnaire to elicit their responses and feedback to learn about their ideas on how to proceed with the rest of the class, maybe. We will come to that point. They are also happy with the fact that they are asked about their opinions and taking active role in the designing phase of the course. One other student stated that he has no expectations at all, while one other expects clean and direct communication, which is possible in online education system. So the online education platforms enable us to send notifications, share documents beforehand, putting on some announcements within a certain time frame, etc. So we can use these platforms effectively to interact with our students. On the other hand, a minority of students would like to take part in the planning stage of the course, as I mentioned. So they may want to design the activities, make suggestions for their teachers or instructors, etc. One student also replied that her expectations range from having simple conversations with her teacher and classmates to have two-sided debates. As you suggested, this may be this may become possible through having speaking clubs maybe, or purpose-specific rooms to have chat with the students, or having debates on certain issues or questions maybe. So that's another point that we need to consider before designing our class. And this was our final question. If you had a chance to change something in the listening and speaking courses in the online education process, what would it be? As for that question, almost all students are happy with their current implementation. One student replied to express her request to change the subject hours to a later time in the day. This, of course, may not be possible at the K-12 context because you have a tight schedule, as pointed out in earlier presentations. So you can't be that flexible. And even in university context, we cannot change the subject hours at all times because we also have a tight schedule. We have limited amount of time for the BA and MA level courses, etc. So this may be a difficult request to meet. One student is happy to see the stuff he is familiar with, therefore successful at, of course, while another student would be happy to see more complex tasks. So this reminds us to consider the differentiated learning aspect of teaching. So of course, the class may not be homogeneous, and this is also the case for the online environment. We often tend to continue our courses in a lecture manner, maybe. I don't know your implementations, but students want to see more challenging tasks like I+1 sort of activities to increase their levels of speaking and listening. And finally, another student request to change the duration of the tests. This is very specific comment, but we also need to consider the duration of the tests. As Hakan Hocam pointed out, this has to do with the reliability and effective point of the evaluation aspect. Results and recommendations. These are the previous studies that we found on the academic studies in the previous studies which were published. It says the most frequent findings from comparative studies for the first year of language study show no significant differences between the performance of in-class students and that of the online students. Occasionally, the online students performed slightly better, but never worse. This concurs with the results of our research, our small research. Another study says online students outperformed offline students in terms of written production, as measured by accuracy, use of transitions, overall development, and syntactic complexity, while achieving comparable results, in listening comprehension, reading comprehension, grammar, and oral production. So the similar level of achievement is not specific to listening and speaking. Students can also perform in other areas in language teaching, such as written activities. As we said, findings of our study concurs with these views expressed back in 2015, as barely any students stated any negativity caused from their own incapabilities. All issues are generated from the technicalities of online teaching, except some very specific cases, of course. This also indicates that freshman students have almost no issue in adapting to a newer learning environment, as long as their instructor is capable of benefiting from the facilities offered by the online education systems and applications. Since students no longer come to school regularly, attend classes, and visit our offices, keeping students up to date via announcements play a crucial role in instructor and teacher-student interaction. As students explicitly stated, they request clear and direct communication, which is possible through announcements, as we said. Therefore, weekly or daily plans should be announced beforehand. So students need to know what is going to be done in class beforehand. Of course, it's not, it doesn't have to be kept secret until that time point. Another point is that involving students in the planning stage of the course may increase their motivation, as we stated before. Differentiating the learning through various activities also motivates students and keep them on task, as students' feedbacks show. All in all, hands-on experience is crucial in online education. So students need to be active. If not, they tend to turn off their cameras and microphones, go away and get busy with other stuff. They may play a video game at the background, maybe listening to you. So we need to make them take an active role in classes.
For further implications, students should also be told to inform their instructors if they have any issues or when they will not be able to join classes, since active participation is key in online teaching where no physical interaction is available. Like we mentioned, as teachers, we have our duties in online education process to our students, and they also have some responsibilities to us because as most of the teachers mentioned, and also as Hakan Hocam mentioned, it's very hard for teachers to sit in front of the computer and talk to a blank
page.
Yes, sorry, blank page.
Having a monologue.
Yes, it's like a monologue for the teachers. So students should also keep the teachers up to date if they have a problem or if they will not be able to join the classes. Instructors should focus on facilitating student efforts to think critically, apply, and make sense of new knowledge. In online education, students take more responsibility of their own learning. So as instructors or as teachers, we have to maybe show them ways to think critically and apply and make sense of new knowledge, because it's not just lectures anymore, and the students should be able to make use of what they're getting from their teachers in this very limited amount of time that they are together. In short, teachers' role in an online class as a facilitator has become even more critical. The teacher facilitates and the student should do his or her own part in the online education process. Teachers and instructors should focus more on the individual factors of students in online education. As feedback shows, it would easily be possible to spot and encourage the shy student mentioned earlier in a face-to-face classroom. At this point, it will be easier on the teacher's side to know the students individually so that he or she can help these shy students to participate more in the online education process, because it is a good way for shy students to come over their shyness and start maybe talking or participating in listening and speaking activities. However, it requires an extra effort for the instructor to do the same in an online environment. Even if done so, they may not respond by turning on their microphone or camera. Yes, in face-to-face environments, it's easier for instructors or teachers to spot these kind of students. But in an online environment, they have to maybe get in touch with these students one by one and ask them what is keeping them from participating. Why are they turning off their microphones or cameras? Why are they unwilling to participate? So keeping a log of active, inactive students can therefore prove to be useful. Having noted inactive students, maybe the teacher can get in touch with this student, as I said a few seconds ago, and learn what is going on. And it's always helpful to hold a questionnaire or just ask one question. What are your expectations of this class? Why are you unwilling? May help the online education process for the teachers and the students. These are our references. And we would really like to continue this research. So your participation, your ideas are very important to us. If you have something to share, maybe you can just type it here or email to us, because we would really like to build on this. This was just a pilot research, and according to your ideas, we can create something that both benefits the instructors, teachers, and the students as well. Thank you for listening, and hope you have a nice day. We are looking forward to your emails, your ideas.
Yes, thank you for your invaluable responses and listening, of course. We are willing to hear your responses via email or in the chat section. We will be following up your comments. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your beneficial presentation. And now we're having a break for 10 minutes. Our next session is going to start at 4:05. Thank you.
Thank you.
Burçin Hocam,
Yes.
bir şey
Evet
rica
hocam,
edebilir miyim?
dinliyorum.
Aslı Bayram, ben bir sonraki workshop benim olacak. Acaba breakout
Evet
room
hocam.
özelliği açabilir misiniz bana? Kullanabilir miyim lütfen?
Breakout room. Bir saniye bakalım
Evet.
hocam, eğer varsa öyle bir özelliğiniz. Hocam özelden telefonunuzu yazar mısınız bana?
Peki.
Aslı Hocam, hazırsanız başlayabiliriz.
Tabii hazırım, başlayalım. Biraz karanlık sanırım. Görebiliyorsunuz sanırım sunumumu. Hoş geldiniz tekrardan. Merhabalar. Öncelikle şimdiden teşekkür ederim. Uzun bir gün oldu. Tekrar oturuma katıldığınız ve burada olduğunuz için, dinlediğiniz için. Bizlerle deneyimlerinizi, fikirlerinizi paylaştığınız için umarım paylaşmaya da devam ederseniz ben de e-maillerimi sunumun sonunda e-mail adresimi sizinle paylaşacağım. Bu şekilde birlikte online teaching için, online eğitim için daha nasıl etkili bir öğretim ve öğrenim süreci kurgulayabiliriz? Konuşalım, paylaşalım. Şimdi başlamadan önce ben de neden öğrenim ve öğretim süreçleri unsurları içerisinde öğretmen kimliği önem arz ediyor, bir iki şey bununla ilgili söylemek istiyorum. Her birimizin bir eğitim geçmişi var ama her birimiz belli şeyleri bulunduğumuz ortam, çalıştığımız kurum, öğrenci ihtiyaçları, öğrenci gereksinimlerine göre aslında uyguluyoruz. Sınıf içi kararların çoğu bireysel unsurlarla, onların etkileriyle de alınan kararlar. Bu sebeple öğretmen kimliği bir kişisel ne denir? Kişisel taraf da barındırıyor içerisinde. Buradan itibaren İngilizce devam edeceğim. Bu öğretmen kimliğinin online eğitimle birlikte ne tür değişimlere uğradığını, nasıl etkilendiğini ve özellikle online eğitimin burada nasıl ve ne tür etkileri olduğunu konuşacağız bu sunumla birlikte. Peki, so with the recent research and the literature, it is now clearer more than in the past that teaching concerns a teacher as a whole person. It is not only the professional side, but also the personal side that matters, especially when we are making our teaching decisions in the learning environment. So it can neither be reduced to any technical or cognitive practice only, nor pedagogical knowledge, skills, or subject matter expertise. And it does have a great impact on how we make our teaching decisions in classroom, and our beliefs and values and views and attitudes and behaviors even are pretty much affected by how we perceive ourselves as a teacher. And consequently, it does have a lot of effect on learning process. And this also brings us to how capable we see ourselves, the self-efficacy of teachers, the willingness to be active, and the willingness to take part in especially further training or teacher development, or the opposite, of course, the reasons why a teacher would feel unwilling to take a step forward and try to implement any kind of innovation in their classroom practice. So if we are to talk about what identity is, there are different views, and there isn't a consensus on the clear definition of what identity really is. Like George Herbert Mead suggests, the social self, and I kind of differentiation, or James G. talking about this is a being that is recognized by the society or a community at a given time and place. If you look at both theories here, both views here, you can see the similarities. They both suggest that self is not something that comes from birth. It is developmental, and it is transactional, and it is interactional. It is a dialogic process, and it kind of emerges within an individual through time, practice, and place. And it does have this capacity to evolve in time. So it is not stable, or it is not fixed, and it does not end unless, of course, you as a teacher stop teaching and stop the interaction and experiencing, let's say. So what constitutes teacher identity is agreed upon. Let's say elements of teacher identity is the professional side, which is a lot more peripheral, related to the contexts and related to the relationships that we build in those contexts with, of course, colleagues and managers and administrators and so on, institutions, let's say. This is more like an old self. This is how they see us as a teacher and how we should be playing our, let's say, roles and functions accordingly. On the other hand, personal identity is a lot more internal, and it is pretty much associated with our psychology and emotions, our narrations and discourses, even in our daily life, not necessarily in the workplace. So this is more like an ideal self, how we see ourselves, or how, let's say, we want to change and evolve, what we want to become as a teacher in the future. So these two apparently is interrelated, and they do interact with each other, and they affect each other, they transform each other, and sometimes they may have some conflicts. So even if we don't have a clear definition of what identity and teacher identity is, and there are different views on the meta, but the agreed upon elements are that it is an interactional process to form an identity, and it takes both cognitive and emotional aspects. It's not necessarily purely professional components of what a teacher has, let's say, or not necessarily only the training, but there is a lot, the emotions have, that emotions affect. It is an ongoing process, it does not end, and it is dynamic rather than fixed. So identity does not stay there with you until you stop teaching. It changes with any kind of interaction you get, including students. So it also relates both the person, the personal and the emotional side, but also the context where you are interacting with. So this takes the role of the discourse and reflections of a teacher, narratives, and teacher agency, the willingness to and the ability to, let's say, improve and develop professionally. Also, it has sub-identities, including online teacher identity. This is also a sub-identity under teacher identity. So again, you can see sometimes the two might have a conflict. Here I was meaning to have some interaction so that it is not only me who is doing the speaking all the time, and it would be nice to meet up but we cannot use the breakout rooms option here today. This was just a small and simple demonstration aimed to show how a person narrates change depending on the context and the time. So even in here with different groups, and when you meet different people, when you are talking about who you are to another party, you would notice how it changes in time and according to the people you're interacting with. So there are, of course, some challenges that identity imposes us, especially that come with the changing world and clearly with the rapid educational needs and the changes in what teaching is about these days, or how we perceive what teaching is about. So right now, what it means and feels like to be a teacher and how these changes can be coped with create conflict. Self-efficacy and professional development is another issue. More and more, there is this more and more need of developing professionally and believing in yourself as a teacher to seek for further training and the fact that it can make an impact on learning outcomes, let's say. So even the will and the ability to cope with this change and implement whatever it is that you learn is another issue. And teacher decision making and consequent learning outcomes are affected, and as well as teacher motivation and professional development again. So we've got a teaching process that is much more process oriented rather than product oriented, and students are in the core of the instruction rather than the teacher. So the teacher is no longer the ultimate authority or no longer the knower of the information and the language, but rather a facilitator or an initiator or a guide and a content provider. When we come to the challenges, on the fundamental level, there are the shifts in the internalized conceptions, of course, of who we are. So this might create some resistance on teachers' part. We may feel, teachers may feel, let's say, vulnerable, and this, of course, causes a lot of negative emotions, tension. But in some cases, it might, of course, be the motive to develop professionally the teacher agency. So how we see ourselves as a teacher, the perception that we have on the elements of being teacher is changing, and this might itself even create some negative emotions and threats. Another issue is that the adaptation of face-to-face kind of approaches, methodologies and pedagogies to online platform. So this is again something to affect on what teachers' roles are, their views and beliefs and emotions are. They will be, of course, changing and adapting. Threats again on teachers' self-esteem. So even if you have years of experience in face-to-face teaching, you might feel novice in online education because this is a new thing to all of us. And this might even include some fear of not having enough technological knowledge and skills, along with some personal negative perceptions or personal negative experiences of online education. You might be a learner of an online platform, and you might even have your own negative experience in this online education, along with working as a teacher, especially in the previous semester, we all had some harsh, let's say, experiences that we had to cope with. So especially with roles, we see a big change. So it is not an on-stage teacher anymore. It is much more of a facilitator, a guide, and an encourager. And literature divides the roles into 4 categories: technical roles, pedagogical roles, social and managerial roles. Obviously, technical and pedagogical roles are still there, but there is this need to compensate for social presence, being part of a community, and you know, just being there. The social interaction is one of the biggest, like my colleagues have been suggesting all day. It is one of the biggest challenges of online teaching and learning, as well as managerial roles. Of course, we have we don't have office hours anymore, so it is mostly emails and messages that we can communicate with students and keep track of all the homework or all the workload that a student has, and give feedback, obviously. So here, what strikes, I think, most is it is a new kind of teacher that is also in the part of learning, a big part of learning, but as a co-learner, not you know, in the traditional sense, the teacher and knowledge provider, but the teacher also in the process himself or herself as a partner. Again, what these roles might impose us is that they are a lot, and clearly some of them will conflict with each other, like being a leader and a cohort might not sometimes be at ease and be in good terms, as well as some are some overlap, some are not clearly defined, so some are very similar to each other. So here, not only coping with those and functioning those roles in a classroom environment, but also they themselves are sometimes the reason why we might have difficulties as a teacher. So while finishing, there is this kind of a summary of both types of teaching and learning. They, of course, both have their weaknesses and strengths. Like face-to-face teaching is a lot more centered on teacher, and it is usually perceived as the transmitter of knowledge to the students, whereas online teaching is much more student-oriented, and a teacher is kind of a liaison between content and student, and content, student and institution. So here there is a clear difference. Also, personal contact, sense of presence, being part of a community are in the nature of face-to-face education, and that we kind of had the opportunity, the luxury, let's say, to exploit in the classroom environment. However, in online teaching, this is something that we have to work really hard on to compensate for, even when the lessons are finished. Also, when we come to online teaching, of course, it cannot be ignored that it has its strengths and a lot of advantages, like it is kind of being means to the students being means for the students to become, ideal in a sense, because they are a lot more autonomous and they do take their responsibilities. They are a lot more collaborative and participative. Also, there is this equal opportunity, I believe, democratization of education. So without having to travel, without having to make a lot of expenses on, things like accommodation or cost of living, they can be in their family houses having online education anywhere in the world, not necessarily in their own country. So this also brings some benefits of flexibility and personalization, following the, let's say, process at their own speed, because the applications come with some options like recording the online classes. Even if a student misses an online class, there is this chance for them to watch the lesson once more. But again, these are the characteristics that have its effects, let's say, on who we are and who we think we are as a teacher, how we see ourselves is changing depending on these characteristics. Our beliefs are changing, our views are changing, our actions are changing. Eventually, the teacher identity that is in nature, dialogically, formed and shaped, constantly reconstructed and reshaped and redefined even. Eventually, the learning process, it has its, of course, either positive or negative. It will have its effects on the learning process. So this is what I would like to say in the given time. If you have any questions, if we have time, if you have any comments or anything, I would be happy to respond to, or you can always email me about any comments or questions.
Yes, teacher. Thank you for your presentation. Dear my friends, we're gonna continue tomorrow till I finish. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Program bitti mi? Bitti mi? Oh. Sayın hocalarım, çok teşekkür ediyorum kendi adıma ve arkadaşlarım adına katılımlarınız için. İnşallah başka çalışmalarda görüşmek dileğiyle. E-maillerimizi paylaşmıştık. Her zaman için düşüncelerinize, eleştirilerinize, katkılarınıza açığız. Onları duymak ve onları sizlerle paylaşmak isteriz. Sabrınız için ve paylaşımlarınız için teşekkür ediyoruz. Üniversitem ve bölümümüz adına çok teşekkür ederiz. Çalışmalarınızda başarılar diliyoruz. Allah kolaylık versin.